Chapter 1194. A female liar. Oh, since you're Shield Bro's follower, then you're my follower too. Hello, I'm Shield Bro's small wife. You can call me sister-in-law. Yushu looked at Gooden curiously, Lin Yi's best friend from the same village. Small wife dash? Sister-in-law? Gooden's face was a little weird, but he didn't want to ask too much since they just met. Hello? Sorry about before. It's fine, we're a family now. Yushu waved her hand nonchalantly, but since you're Shield Bro's follower, then that lion counts as your follower too. You wouldn't be asking your follower for an explanation, would you? I won't. Gooden shook his head after some thought. If the lion was his follower, then asking the lion's boss for an explanation would be the same as asking himself for an explanation, right? Who would ask for an explanation from themselves? It seemed like he'd have to let it go. Hello. Mengyao nodded to Gooden formally and reached out her hand. I'm Mengyao, don't listen to Lin Yi's bullshit. I may have been Lin Yi's employer, but we're friends now. I'd like to ask Lin Yi to stay here and protect me and Shu. She didn't know why, but she didn't want to define herself as Lin Yi's employer. She liked this identity at first and used it to lecture and order Lin Yi around, but as time went on she started to dislike it more and more. My hands are dirty. Gooden blushed, embarrassed, not daring to shake Mengyao's hand. Mengyao didn't mind either. She smiled faintly and took her hand back, avoiding the awkwardness. Lin Yi, since that Yuanyuan's mother got bitten by the lion, why don't you go take a look at her? Don't delay the treatment? Mengyao had heard Gooden's explanation of what had happened. Since Lin Yi was a really good doctor, he had to have a way to cure Yuanyuan's mother. Yeah, sure. Let's go and have a look. Lin Yi nodded and said, Boss, there's no need to rush. Gooden was a little embarrassed. It wasn't that he wasn't worried about his mother's condition, but that Lin Yi had other things to do. He couldn't just let him do everything, could he? He hurriedly said, Boss, this is the medicinal liquid you asked me to bring. I have delivered it safely. You are in a hurry to save someone, aren't you? Let's treat the person who needs this medicine first. I lost your address when I went out and I've already wasted a lot of time. With that, he took out a bottle of liquid and gave it to Lin Yi. Don't worry, there's no rush. After Lin Yi took the medicine, he pondered for a moment and said, They are all old injuries. It won't increase the pain if we take it easy for a while. Your friend's mother's injury should be very painful now, so it's better to go and see her first. Thank you, boss. Gooden said gratefully. You don't have to be so polite with me. Lin Yi patted Gooden's shoulder with a smile. Wait here for me, I'll go get some medicine and go with you. All right. Gooden nodded. Lin Yi went back to the villa to change, leaving Mengyao, Yushu, and Gooden alone. Why didn't you kill that old woman Go Huli too? Yushu looked at Gooden regretfully. That old woman is so annoying. I can't just kill people like that. Gooden scratched his head, thinking that his boss's small wife was really ruthless. She was his boss's woman after all. Man, they really got off easy. Yushu shook her head. Oh, I wanted to ask, are you really my boss's small wife? Gooden looked at the pretty Yushu. He couldn't understand why such a pretty girl would be someone's small wife. Although the person was his wise boss, Lin Yi, it was still quite surprising. Yeah. Yushu nodded seriously. Don't you see that I'm living with Shield Bro? Why are you asking such a simple question? Shu, don't talk nonsense. Mengyao interrupted helplessly, glaring at Yushu before turning to Gooden. Don't listen to her bullshit. Lin Yi has a girlfriend. Oh. Gooden didn't know who to believe. He thought about it and decided to ask Lin Yi about it. As they waited for Lin Yi, someone knocked on the door again. Mengyao, Yushu, and Gooden heard the knocking and turned their heads at the same time. It was a girl standing in front of the villa. Mengyao and Yushu didn't know this girl, but Gooden did. His eyes reddened when he saw who it was. As the saying goes, when enemies come face to face, their eyes will burn with hatred. It was Xiaoka. To tell the truth, Xiao Xiao didn't have the face to visit him, because she didn't have enough money to pay Gooden yet. She wanted to wait until the situation calmed down, or when she received a mission from the Steel Sect and then pay him back. But the orphanage was in trouble again. It was even worse than the previous misfortune that never came alone. Xiaoyan, the orphan who was helping out in the kitchen, accidentally dropped her knife when she was cutting vegetables, cutting her foot. She didn't think much of it at the time, just bandaging it casually. After all, this kind of injury wasn't much for the kids in the orphanage. But after a few days the wound started to fester and she started to get scared. She went to Xiaoka, and Xiaoka quickly applied some red medicine on her, but it wasn't very effective. The wound started to fester badly and Xiaoyan started to have a fever. This scared Xiaoka. She was afraid that Xiaoyan would get tetanus, and the knife might have rust on it, causing the wound to get infected. Xiaoke panicked and wanted to take Xiaoyan to the hospital, but the orphanage didn't have a single cent left, and they'd been living frugally for the past few days. Where would they get the money to go to the hospital? Xiaoke didn't have a choice. She thought about the philanthropist she met that day at the train station, Herr Gooden. This was a warm-hearted person. He had lent all his money to her. Xiaoke didn't think that it was appropriate to borrow money from him, but she really had nowhere to go. She had no choice but to go to the address Gooden gave her. Chapter 1195. Chapter 1193, Borrowing Money Again. Yeah. I came here just to find you. Xiaoke naturally didn't know that Gooden thought she was a liar. She didn't hear the hidden meaning in his words. Just to find me? Gooden thought that it was a coincidence, thinking that she was here to scam him, but he didn't expect her to say that she was here just to find him. And so, Gooden was confused. Yeah. Thank you for last time. But I've run into some trouble again. My friend's injured and I need some medical fees. Can you lend me some more money? Don't worry, when I earn money I'll pay you back double. Xiaoke patted her chest. What? You still want to borrow money? Gooden's eyes went wide. Do you think I'm an idiot, you liar? I've already fallen for it once and you still want to borrow money from me? If I borrow money from you again, wouldn't I be the world's biggest idiot? I really don't have a choice. I know you're a good person, can you lend me some more money? Xiaoke begged pitifully. Herr Gooden, you said she was the one who scammed your money? It can't be that coincidental, can it? Yushu heard the conversation between Gooden and Xiaoke. These two knew each other, and this was the person who scammed Gooden's money. I'm not a liar, I'll really pay you back. I've always kept your address. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to find you. Xiaoke paused after hearing Yushu's words. Thinking about Gooden's attitude towards her, she understood that Gooden thought she was a liar. No wonder his tone was so bad when he saw her. She quickly explained. Address. Gooden blinked. You said you found this place based on the address I gave you? Gooden thought that it was a coincidence, but after Xiaoke's explanation he realized that it wasn't. Even so, Gooden found it hard to believe Xiaoke's words. These few days with Yuan Yuan had taught him a lot about how to deal with people and how to deal with things as well as the secrets of scammers. With the example of Yu Ren falling for it, Yuan had been teaching her father and Herr Gooden about how to prevent scammers, and this had slowly raised Herr Gooden's vigilance. He didn't trust people so easily. Yeah, isn't it here? Xiaoke took out the paper and waved it in front of Gooden. Then tell me you have another friend who's injured and wants medical fees, right? Gooden asked. Yes. Xiaoke nodded. Liar. Do you think I'm a fool? Why is your family always sick? You can't just use the same excuse every time you scam people, can you? Gooden pointed at Xiaoke. Xiaoke didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but she didn't know how to explain it. But it seemed like she wouldn't be able to get a single cent from him now. Xiaoke sighed disappointedly. If you don't believe me, then forget it. I'll think of something else, but I'll definitely pay you back the money I owe you. Wait, you're running away already? I'll bring you to the police station. Gooden really couldn't do anything to a pretty girl like Xiaoke, so the only way to punish her was to bring her to the police station. That can't be done. Xiaoke jumped. What would Xiaoyan do if she was sent to the police station? How would the orphanage function without her? This was the most difficult time for the orphanage and she couldn't be harmed. And so, Xiaoke subconsciously turned to run, but Gooden grabbed her arm. Where do you think you're going? With Gooden's strength, it was impossible for Xiaoke to break free. Xiaoke struggled a little, and realized that Gooden's hand was like an iron clamp on her. She begged, Not now, I can't go to jail, I really can't. Why don't we wait for a while? I'll arrange everything and if you're willing to send me to the police station, I'll go with you. If you leave, where would I go find you? Gooden didn't believe her. I can find you, I have your address. Xiaoke said carefully. Do you think I'm an idiot? Gooden couldn't help but get pissed. You cunning bitch. I can't let you get away, you vixen. Linny changed his clothes and left the villa with 2 bottles of medicine. He heard Gooden's loud voice as he walked out. He looked up and saw a familiar face. Xiaoke. Gooden was grabbing her arm, not letting go. What's going on? You guys know each other? Linny smiled as he walked over. Xiaoke didn't expect to see Linny here, and it was as if she had seen her savior. She begged with a bitter face, Linny, help me, tell him he wants to send me to the police station. Send you to the police station? Linny paused, but he remembered something. Herr Gooden, the liar you were talking about before, it wouldn't be her, would it? That's her. Boss, you know her? Gooden was a bit confused. Hearing Xiaoke call out Lin Yi's name meant that the two knew each other. Lin Yi frowned. With Lin Yi's understanding of Xiaoke, this might not be what Gooden was thinking. She might have been tricked by Xiaoke. Who was Xiaoke? She was a thief, and her specialty was stealing. She didn't need to lie at all. If she wanted Gooden's money, she could get it without a sound. Why would she need to lie? Plus, with Xiaoke's situation, it was normal for her to raise money when the orphanage kids were sick. Plus, even if Xiaoke really did trick Gooden, there was no reason for her to do it a second time. Xiaoke, what are you doing here? Xiaoke placed all her hopes on Lin Yi, and so she told Lin Yi the details of her visit. After hearing that, Lin Yi felt that Xiaoke wasn't lying. He had seen Xiaoke's orphanage before, so Xiaoke's words weren't far from the truth. The children in the orphanage were really injured. Chapter 1196. Brothers talk. With that thought, Lin Yi said, "You said that the child in the orphanage seems to have tetanus? In that case, I'll accompany you to take a look and treat her." Xiaoke paused, not expecting Lin Yi to know how to treat illnesses. Are you a doctor? Didn't I treat you last time? Lin Yi smiled. Last time? Didn't you use your qi to treat me? Xiaoke paused. Isn't that different? I'm a doctor too, Lin Yi smiled. Actually, Lin Yi could just give Xiaoke some money and let her take Xiaoyan to the hospital herself. Tetanus wasn't a problem in the medical field, but Lin Yi wanted to see if Xiaoke was lying or not. Although Lin Yi trusted Xiaoke, she was still a thief and Lin Yi wasn't that close to her. Lin Yi couldn't guarantee that what Xiaoke said was true. He did this to help Gooden verify if Xiaoke was a liar or not. Of course, if what Xiaoke said was true, then Lin Yi wouldn't mind helping her. He didn't know if he was touched by Xiaoke's persistence, or if Lin Yi had assimilated with the people around him as time went on. His indifferent personality was slowly loosening up. Lin Yi didn't purposely try to stop the change in his mentality. If he wanted to assimilate into life, he had to adapt to it. Thank you. Xiaoke didn't doubt Lin Yi's words after hearing Lin Yi's words. You're welcome, Lin Yi smiled and turned to Gooden. Let's go take a look? Gooden naturally wanted to see if Xiaoke was a liar or not. If she really was, then it wouldn't be too late to teach her a lesson, but if she wasn't, then he'd really wronged her. That way he'd feel better. At least his kindness had been repaid. Chill bro, I want to go too. Yushu wanted to see what the orphanage looked like after listening to Xiaoke. Then let's go together. Lin Yi didn't stop them. Mengyao and Yushu weren't big spenders, but they didn't have much of a concept of money. It would be very educational for them to see the orphanage. Gooden and I will drive Shu's beetle. Xiaoke, you ride with Yao Yao and Shu? Lin Yi and Gooden hadn't seen each other in a long time, and naturally they had some things to talk about. He didn't want others to hear them. Okay, Mengyao nodded and went to drive the Audi S5 with Yushu and Xiaoke. The two cars drove out of the villa. Lin Yi was in front and Mengyao was behind. That Yuan, is she a girl you like? Lin Yi could tell from Gooden's tone that something was up. Now that he had the time, he asked, how do you know her? He. Gooden scratched his head, embarrassed. You saw through me, boss. I quite like her and I want her to be my wife. Oh? Lin Yi didn't think that Gooden would be so serious about marrying Yuan. He couldn't help but be curious. How long have you been here? What happened? It's a long story. Gooden didn't hide anything from Lin Yi. He told the story from how he got scammed by Xiaoke at the train station to how he was hungry and went to Yuan's burger shop. She told him about the trouble and so he went to fight Fighter Li. Ahem. Lin Yi coughed after hearing Gooden's story. This was too legendary, wasn't it? Gooden actually went to the underground arena and killed Fighter Li, the one who was in charge there? But Fighter Li was quite unlucky running into Gooden. That arena didn't cause trouble for you? Lin Yi asked, surprised. No, I sent someone to send some money. Gooden shook his head. Lin Yi nodded. He didn't think there was anything wrong with that. He was afraid of being beaten up. As expected, evil people needed to be beaten up by evil people. Then Mrs. You got bitten by a lion at Go Huli's house, and you came for revenge? Lin Yi asked. Yeah, I didn't think I'd meet you, boss. Gooden said excitedly. Then what does Yuan want? Does she like you? Lin Yi knew that this was the first time Gooden had feelings for a girl. He didn't want him to get hurt, so Yuan's attitude was very important. I think she likes me. Gooden thought about it and nodded. Plus, Yuan's parents treat me quite well. Yuan's father even wanted me to stay here and help him manage the hardware store. But, can you leave Star West Village? Will you be able to leave that Spirit Spring? You'll have to go back eventually, Lin Yi frowned and reminded. Can Yuan go back with you? I don't know. Gooden was shocked after hearing Lin Yi's words. He didn't think that much before, but after Lin Yi said that, he remembered that his body was special. He couldn't leave the fountain, otherwise there'd be big problems. Yuan liked him, he was pretty sure. But asking a girl to go so far away to give up the prosperity of a big city and go to a small village, it was too much for her. After seeing the prosperity of a big city, even Gooden didn't want to leave, let alone Yuan. And so Gooden was in a dilemma. I'll find a chance to talk to her. This has to be made clear eventually. Lin Yi knew that some things might make Gooden lose Yuan, but he might get her love in return. But if he didn't say it out loud, it wouldn't work. You've used your strength twice already, haven't you? Without the nourishment of the fountain, the goo in your body will backfire. I'm afraid you won't be able to last long this time. Yeah. Gooden sighed. I'll find a time to talk to her. Lin Yi nodded silently. He couldn't say much about this. Everything depended on Yuan and Gooden's relationship. Thinking of Yuan, Lin Yi couldn't help but think of Tang Yun, this stubborn and persistent girl. When he was about to leave Songshan, she chose to leave with him. At that moment, Lin Yi was really touched. He swore to treat her well for the rest of his life. Thinking back to everything they had been through together, it was a bit ordinary, but it was blissful. Chapter 1197. Give me 1-2. The car drove slowly to the orphanage, and Lin Yi parked the car in front of the orphanage. Looking at the broken walls, Lin Yi sighed. It wasn't easy for Xiaoke to support this orphanage all by herself. In the car, Xiaoke told Mengyao and Yushu many things about the orphanage. She told them about how pitiful the children there were, but seeing it with her own eyes wasn't as shocking as seeing it with her own eyes. If it weren't for Lin Yi's visit today, Mengyao and Yushu would never have known that there was an orphanage like this in Songshan. Mengyao and Yushu had donated quite a lot of money, but it was always to the remote mountainous areas. They'd never thought that there would be such a poor place in the prosperous city of Songshan. It's broken, isn't it? Xiaoke was a bit awkward. These two were obviously rich misses and they wouldn't be used to a place like this. This is the orphanage? Are there a lot of children here? Do they live here every day? Mengyao couldn't help but ask. Yeah, this is the place. Xiaoke nodded. Children are actually very pitiful, they don't have parents to take care of them, and the dean and I can only do our best to take care of them. But the funds are limited and their lives aren't that good. Xiaoke and the others had just arrived when Ken ran out from the red brick building. Xiaoke sis, you're finally back. Yen fainted. What? Xiaoke froze when she heard the words. Yen had a fever before they left and her mental state wasn't that good. She panicked and went to borrow money from Gooden, but Yen fainted in such a short amount of time. Lin Yi and Gooden got off the car as well, and seeing the orphanage, Gooden believed Xiaoke's words. He felt bad for misunderstanding her before. He was a kind person, and if he knew that Xiaoke was giving money to these orphans, he wouldn't even think about asking her to pay the money back. He would have given it to her. Lin Yi also heard Xiao Ken's words at this moment and said to Xiao Ken, "Take me there." Xiao Ken knew Lin Yi, so he didn't hesitate at this moment. He nodded and led Lin Yi into the orphans' dormitory. The dormitory was a factory-like long cylindrical room with dozens of beds. Although the room was dilapidated and the beds were rusty, the bedding was neatly folded. On one of the beds, Lin Yi saw Xiao Yan. The little girl was only about 10 years old. It must have been hard for her to cook at such a young age. However, this was the situation of the orphanage. There was no spare money to hire workers. Most of the daily chores were done by Xiao Ken and the children. After all, Xiaoke needed to earn money, and the dean's health wasn't good. The girl's face was a little green, and her forehead was a little hot. Her muscles were spasming all over. Lin Yi checked the girl's tongue and pulse before letting out a breath of relief. It's confirmed that it's tetanus. I'll take care of the wound first and then I'll write a prescription. Yao, can you and Shu go to the pharmacy and buy the medicine? Okay. Mengyao nodded without hesitation. The scene in the orphanage really touched her. She didn't believe it before, but now that she was here and saw Xiao Yan on the sick bed, she knew how hard it was for the children here. If she could help them, she wouldn't hesitate. Mengyao had even made up her mind to donate all her pocket money to this orphanage in the future. She wanted to help these children as much as she could. Lin Yi quickly took care of Xiao Yan's wound and applied Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine. He left the rest for Xiaoke. Alright, there's no problem. Leave this half a bottle of medicine here. If you have any wounds in the future, apply it as soon as possible. If you apply it earlier, the wound won't worsen. One bottle costs 199, how can I afford it? Xiaoke sighed. The orphanage uses the cheapest red medicine. It's fine for small wounds, but this kind of knife wound is too serious. You can't not use it just because it's expensive. Wouldn't that cause a problem? Linny didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Xiaoka's words. You steal so much money, and you can't even afford a bottle of medicine? The situation is so tight right now. How would I dare to steal money? I wouldn't go borrow money if I could. The orphanage needs too much money. Of course we have to be calculative, right? That medicine is so expensive, 199. It'd be better if it was 99. What a profiteer. Xiaoka complained. Linny didn't know what to say. How did he become a profiteer? His medicine was 100 quite cheaper than Dr. Kang's golden creation, wasn't it? However, he had heard about Lingshan's operation to crack down on criminals. It seemed like Xiaoka's skills weren't up to par yet. Mengyao and Yushu naturally knew about Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine. They couldn't help but laugh at Xiaoka's words. Mengyao said, "Yeah, what a profiteer. But Linny knows the boss of the medicine factory. Maybe he can give you some?" Really? Xiaoka was overjoyed. If the orphanage could get some medicine, it'd be great. The children wouldn't have to worry about their wounds worsening anymore. This was a common medicine. Yeah, it's true. Linny nodded. He looked at the miss oddly. The miss had a good heart. This made Linny happy. If Mengyao was like those girls who flaunted their wealth, then Linny wouldn't have bothered with her. Linny wrote down a prescription and gave it to Mengyao and Yushu. Just get the medicine according to my prescription. Right, Shield Bro, can you give me a prescription too? Yushu asked as she remembered something after taking the prescription. You're not sick. Why should I give you a prescription? Linny didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He looked at Yushu strangely. This medicine can't be taken randomly. Taking too much won't do you any good. I'm not treating a disease. I'm thinking, is there a prescription that can make people grow taller? Yushu blinked. I want to grow taller. Chapter 1198. A big deal. Xiao Xiao is a small wife and so am I. But she's a little taller than me, I can't accept it. Yushu said. And both Yun Yun Sis and Yao Yao Sis are taller than me? That? We'll talk about it later. Linny was a little embarrassed by Yushu's request. Go get the medicine first. Mengyao had wanted to ask if there were any breast enlargement recipes, but she couldn't bring herself to do so. She couldn't bring herself to ask about it no matter how much she thought about it. Still, she could ask Yushu to be thick-skinned and ask her later. The girl could say anything. And it's decided. With that thought, Mengyao grabbed Yushu's hand and went to get the medicine, thinking about how she should tell her about it. That's it? Thank you so much. Xiaoka saw that Linny was a doctor and was very excited. She grabbed Linny's hand and swung it back and forth. I'll go find you if the kids in the orphanage get sick again, okay? Linny was speechless. It's just an emergency. Go to the hospital if there's anything. Come find me if the hospital can't solve it. Linny didn't want to set a precedent. If he came to the orphanage to treat every single child with a fever or a cold, he wouldn't be able to do anything else. I see. Okay. Xiaoka was a little disappointed, but she knew that she and Lin Yi were just acquaintances. She couldn't force Lin Yi, but Lin Yi promised her that she could go find him if the hospital couldn't cure the illness. This made Xiaoka very happy. Sometimes, a lot of newborns were abandoned by their parents because of congenital diseases, and many of these diseases couldn't be cured. Even if they were cured, it would cost a lot of money, and there was no guarantee that they could be cured. The orphanage adopted a lot of babies like this, and this was why Xiaoka didn't have any money left after all these years of stealing. Other than the orphanage's expenses, some of the money was used to treat the babies. She knew that she was throwing money at it, but even if there was a sliver of hope, she didn't want to give up on the baby. They were pitiful and innocent. Xiaoka thought that no matter how tiring it was, she had to spend money to treat them. On the other hand, Lin Yi's words brought hope to Xiaoka. Thinking about this, Xiaoka wasn't disappointed anymore. Instead, she said happily, "Then it's a deal?" "Sure." Lin Yi nodded and changed the topic. "If you don't steal money now, how will the orphanage survive? Let's just hold on for one day at a time." Xiaoka shrugged. "I put up a mission on the thief's door, and as long as someone sees it, they'll be able to eat for a year." Steal sect? Big deal? Lin Yi frowned. Lin Yi had heard a little about the Steel sect, so he said, "You want to do big business with your mediocre skills? Don't lose your life over this." "I'll be careful." Xiaoka humphed. "How am I mediocre? My Qinggong is one of the best in the thief's door. Our Flying Sparrow sect is very famous in the thief's door." Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything else. He could help her now, but he couldn't help her forever. She had to carry the burden herself in the future. Gooden understood the truth. Naturally, he knew that Xiaoka wasn't trying to scam his money. He felt a little embarrassed and touched his hair. Xiaoka, I was wrong about you, you're not a scammer. Haha. Xiaoka didn't care about what happened anymore after seeing how generous Gooden was. Don't worry, when I get rich I'll pay you back. It's okay, I'll donate the money to the orphanage. Plus you're my boss's friend. Gooden didn't have the face to ask for more money. Mengyao and Yushu left the orphanage and Mengyao got in the car. She looked back at the ruined orphanage, a little emotional. Shu, the kids here are really pitiful, but at least they have a big sister who cares about them. Xiaoka, it really isn't easy. Yeah, Yao sis. I've decided that I'll organize a fundraiser when I get back to school, get the students to donate some money to the orphanage. Those who don't have any money can donate used textbooks or something. Yushu said with a sigh. Mengyao, on the other hand, was taken aback. She didn't think that Yushu would say something unexpected at a critical moment, even though she looked like a lunatic. Mengyao only wanted to donate some of her pocket money to the orphanage, but she never thought about organizing a donation event. How could an individual's strength compare to the strength of a group? She really didn't expect Shu to have a plan already. That's a good idea, I'll discuss it with my dad when we get back and let him talk to the principal about it. Mengyao nodded in agreement. That's great, I heard that idiot Xie Yufeng is pretty rich. Xiao cheated him out of a few $100,000, let's get him to donate more too. Yushu's first target was Xie Yufeng. Mengyao couldn't help but smile. Yushu was back to her playful self. Right, you said you wanted a prescription for getting taller? Mengyao pretended to ask casually as she drove. Yeah, Yao, look at me, I'm so perfect from head to toe, just a little bit more and I'll become a perfect shoe. Yushu said regretfully. Perfect shoe? I think you're more like a cow shoe. Mengyao purposely brought the topic to Yushu's chest. Oh, what's wrong, are you jealous of me? Yushu asked. So what if I am? Mengyao rolled her eyes. This was the first time she admitted that she was jealous. Yes, she acted like she didn't care before, but who wouldn't be jealous? Hehe, I know, Yao. Do you want me to ask Shield Bro if there's a prescription for breast enlargement? You're too shy to ask, so you want me to go? Yushu looked at Mingyao's face and guessed what she was thinking. I didn't. Mingyao's face reddened as Yushu exposed her. Then I won't ask? Years of sisterhood made Yushu confident. Then I'll just ask casually. I don't have anything to do anyways, I might as well. Mengyao acted like she didn't care. Okay, I promise I'll complete the mission. Yushu giggled. When I get taller and your chest gets bigger, we'll be invincible. We'll be able to beat Tang Yunsis and Xiao. Chapter 1199. Misunderstood false information. But no matter what, the two came to an agreement. They went to the pharmacy, and Mengyao bought a few bottles of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. Although Lin Yi could ask Fatty Lai to give some to the orphanage, it was better to buy 2 as a backup. Back at the orphanage, Lin Yi told Xiaoka about the things to take note of when brewing the medicine before leaving. Yan's injury was a piece of cake to Lin Yi, and it wasn't a big deal. Lin Yi's second stop was to find Yuan with Air Gooden. Today was destined to be a busy day, and with the medicine Gooden brought, Lin Yi couldn't wait to treat Tang Juqing and Fun. It was a good chance to introduce his follower, Kang Xiaobo, to Air Gooden. Fatty Lai, too, had officially received Lin Yi's approval. But Mengyao and Yushu didn't need to go to Yuan's place, so Lin Yi let them return to the villa first. Family Xiao sent the 2 Pai masters to the hospital, and after returning to the villa, they started plotting. Brother, the 2 masters from House Pai are in the hospital, we have to keep this a secret. We can't let our partners know about this, or else they'll re-evaluate our strength. Xiao Ji said worriedly. Of course we have to keep it a secret, but big bro, you have to know that there's no such thing as an impenetrable wall in this world. We can't hide this forever, people will find out eventually. Xiao Ben sighed. But the good thing is that we're not as strong as them. Although the 2 Pai masters aren't a match for the hero, they're still a threat to the smaller houses. That's true. But I think we should use the time when the hero is looking for Lin Yi to cause trouble for House Chu. Otherwise, when Lin Yi recovers and finds out that 2 of our House Pai masters are in the hospital, we won't be able to get what we want. Xiao Ji said, I think we need to hurry. And that makes sense. How about this, sister-in-law? You go to the Chu family's villa to investigate and see what's going on over there. Did the hero injure Lin Yi? Xiao Ben nodded and instructed. Go. Go. Huli was a little scared. She was afraid that she would meet the hero again. Yes, only you can go. You can use the excuse of looking at the lion to find out more about the situation. Xiao Ben said, if we go, we're not familiar with the 2 girls of the Chu family, so we can't ask them some questions. All right. Go. Huli thought about it and clenched her teeth. She was willing to take the risk to attack House Chu. Go Huli left the Xiao family and took a deep breath. She calmed herself down and drove the Ferrari back to the Chu family's villa. Mengyao and Yushu got home and saw the broken iron fence in front of the villa. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This guy was Lin Yi's follower, so naturally they couldn't ask him to pay for it. They could only hire someone to fix it themselves. When they got home, the lion and General Wei Wu were nowhere to be seen. Yushu was a little confused. She walked around the villa and saw the lion sleeping in the warehouse. Fuck. You stupid lion, your master isn't home and you're lazing around here? Do you want to die? Yushu was very pissed off. What was wrong with this lion? How long had it been since she left? How long had it been since she left? Woof woof. General Wei Wu barked helplessly. Shu, forget it. This is the lion's first day of training, and you've been torturing it for the whole morning. It doesn't have General Wei Wu's stamina. It's going to rest now that it's tired. Mengyao walked over and roughly understood what General Wei Wu was trying to say. General Wei Wu was a golden class dog, but the lion wasn't. Lin Yi didn't have any intentions of modifying it at the moment, evidently not trusting the lion's loyalty. It was impossible for a lion without any strength to be like General Wei Wu. Oh. Yushu thought about it and realized that it was the case. She didn't care anymore. All right, go to sleep then. We'll continue training tomorrow. The two were discussing the lion when Go Huli's voice came from the door. Is anyone home? Why's that old woman here again? Yushu rolled her eyes when she heard Go Huli's voice. She walked to the front of the villa unhappily. After Go Huli arrived at House Chu's villa, she first observed the situation outside. She realized that the iron fence on the villa's door was broken, just like her house Zhao's villa. Go Huli was instantly delighted. It seemed that the hero had found this place and had a conflict with House Chu's people. If there wasn't a conflict, House Chu would have let him in peacefully, and they wouldn't have broken the iron fence. It seemed like the conflict had been going on for a while, but there weren't any sounds of fighting. It should be over already. Go Huli mustered up her courage and called out. Yushu walked to the front yard and frowned when she saw Go Huli standing at the door. What are you doing here again? Why is there no end to this old hag? Do you want to show me how to pull your head off? Go Huli heard Yushu's sarcasm and wanted to yell at her, but she remembered that she was here on a mission and couldn't make things awkward with Yushu. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to get any information out of Yushu. With that thought, Go Huli held back her anger and smiled embarrassedly. How can this person live after his head is pulled off? Oh, then why are you here if he can't live? Yushu was pissed when she saw a lazy lion, and now Go Huli was here. How could she be happy? Where's the lion? Go Huli asked after some hesitation. That. Yushu didn't like lions in the first place, so she answered casually when Go Huli asked. That. Go Huli clicked her tongue in satisfaction. You ungrateful lion slave, it's better if you're dead. But she didn't show it on her face. Oh, then where's Linny? He went to the hospital. What's the matter? Mengyao walked over and said impatiently. She had a bad impression of Go Huli and didn't want her to waste time at the door. Mengyao still needed Faubert to come back and fix the door. Chapter 1200. Come to the door again. Mengyao looked at Huli's back, confused. She didn't know why Huli came here all of a sudden. Huli didn't know that Mengyao was talking about going to the hospital to treat Yuan's mother. Huli thought that Linny was in the hospital because of his own injuries. Huli quickly drove back to the Xiao family and excitedly reported, "Good news, good news." Huli, what's wrong? What's the good news? Xiao Ji looked at Huli's face and guessed what was going on. Master has already caused a ruckus in House Chu. Lion was killed and Linny is in the hospital. Chu Lil girl and Chen Lil girl look like they just ate gunpowder. Go Huli said happily. Is that so? If that's the case, then the heavens are helping our Xiao family. Xiao Ji laughed. Brother, let's find some people to deal with Pengzhan Industries. Yes, not bad. Let's go to Pengzhan Industries now and talk to him. If he knows what's good for him, he'll give us some benefits. If he doesn't, we'll suppress Pengzhan Industries in the stock market. We have a lot of alliances now anyway and we won't need to invest any money. I'm sure a lot of people will want to split Pengzhan Industries with us. Xiao Ben thought about it and said. In fact, ever since the masters from House Pai entered the Xiao family, more and more smaller families came to flatter them. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben's ego had started to inflate. They enjoyed the feeling of being on top of the world. Every time they thought about the humiliation they suffered in House Chu, they would grit their teeth, wanting to avenge themselves, but there was never a suitable opportunity. Now that the opportunity was here, naturally they wouldn't let it go. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben didn't linger and left for Pengzhan Industries. This matter couldn't be delayed, they had to be decisive. Pengzhan wasn't expecting Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben to come visit at this time. He knew about the Xiao family's resurgence, and he was afraid that the Xiao family would come for revenge at first. But after a while he was relieved to see that everything was fine. House Pai probably wouldn't make an enemy out of Lin Yi for no reason. It wouldn't benefit House Pai, so the Xiao family brothers didn't make a move. Mr. Xiao, may I know what brings you here? The enmity between Pengzhan and the Xiao family was irresolved. They were already enemies, and so Pengzhan wouldn't mince his words. Judging from the looks on Xiao Ben and Xiao Ji's faces today, he knew that these two didn't have good intentions. Pengzhan, thanks to you, our Xiao family was almost finished. Xiao Ji said coldly as he sat down on the sofa in Pengzhan's office. Mr. Xiao, if it weren't for the greed of your Xiao family, things wouldn't have turned out this way. Pengzhan wasn't angered. He was a man of manners after all. He only smiled faintly at Xiao Ji's rudeness. But the heavens have blessed our Xiao family. Our Xiao family is not finished, we're even getting better. What do you think? Pengzhan, are you jealous? Jealous? Wah! Xiao Ji laughed loudly. Just say what you want. Pengzhan knew that the Xiao family brothers didn't come here to show off. They probably had something to discuss. Pengzhan, don't think that I'm letting you off the hook just because I didn't come looking for you. I didn't come looking for you because I didn't have the time. Let me tell you, the enmity between our families is huge. Xiao Ji slammed the coffee table in front of him. Pengzhan frowned. He didn't think that the Xiao family brothers would come looking for him again after so long, and from the looks of it, they were definitely here for trouble. But what kind of courage was it that made the Xiao family act this way? Could they be this arrogant with just two masters from House Pai supporting them? But why didn't they come looking for trouble when the masters from House Pai just arrived? Why did they wait so long? Mr. Xiao, you've probably forgotten the pain of the past? It's only been a short time and you've already forgotten the lesson from last time? Pengzhan had thought things through after what happened last time. There were times when it was time to be tough and he'd just give it his all. Even Lin Yi was willing to give up everything for House Chu, so what was there for Pengzhan to do? Pengzhan, I'm not afraid to tell you that we're here for what happened last time. Xiao Ji smiled coldly. Pengzhan, don't say that I didn't give you a way out. You have two choices. One is to hand over a portion of your business to us, the Xiao family, and the other is to wait for us Xiao family and our partners to attack your stock market. Pengzhan frowned. There was no doubt that Xiao Ji was the same as last time. He was asking for too much. But Xiao Ji wouldn't do something as crazy as this unless he had something to rely on. He wouldn't just come here and say something stupid like this. His business wasn't something he could just give away just because he wanted it. And so Pengzhan only smiled faintly. Mr. Xiao, you seem very confident? Is it because of the two masters from House Pai? But don't forget that the masters from House Pai were beaten away by Lin Yi before. Lin Yi? Ah. So you're still counting on Lin Yi? Xiao Ji laughed mockingly at Pengzhan. I'm not afraid to tell you that the person you're counting on is now hospitalized. He's been beaten to the hospital by Master. Hospitalized. Pengzhan paused. What? You don't believe me? You can give your backer Lin Yi a call if you don't believe me. Xiao Ji said nonchalantly. Pengzhan's face changed. He finally understood why the Xiao family would suddenly come to his doorstep again. They knew that Lin Yi was injured. Perhaps it was the same as last time. They wanted to take advantage of the situation. But Lin Yi was perfectly fine. How could he be injured? He was even beaten up by some hero and hospitalized? Then why would Master hit him? If it was a master from House Pai, then Pengzhan would still believe it, but where did this master come from? But even though Pengzhan was doubtful, he still picked up his phone and called Lin Yi. He'd be able to get the most accurate information from Lin Yi. Lin Yi, where are you? Pengzhan asked. Although he kept his tone normal, he couldn't help but feel anxious in his heart. I'm at the hospital. Lin Yi said. What's wrong? Uncle Chu, why are you suddenly asking this question? Chapter 1201. Chapter 1199, Xiao Ben's prediction. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben looked at each other after seeing Pengzhan's expression and smiled. It seemed that Go Huli's information was correct. Lin Yi was in the hospital. What's wrong, Uncle Chu? Lin Yi paused after hearing Pengzhan's exclamation. Did something happen to Yao Yao? Yao Yao? Pengzhan calmed himself down. He was worried about Meng Yao, but now that he thought about it, why would he care about Meng Yao if something really happened to Lin Yi? He didn't sound like he was injured at all. Pengzhan quickly asked, what are you doing in the hospital? Oh, my friend's mother is injured, I'm taking a look at her. Lin Yi said, Uncle Chu, what happened? It's fine, I got it. Peng Zhan let out a breath of relief after hearing Lin Yi's words. If Lin Yi was fine, it meant that the Xiao family's information was wrong. But since they knew that Lin Yi was in the hospital, they still had their eyes and ears. How is it? I'm not wrong, am I? Lin Yi is in the hospital now, right? Xiao Ji said proudly. Haha, he's in the hospital, but he's there to treat someone. He's not injured. Peng Zhan smiled faintly, feeling more confident now. Mr. Zhao's information is wrong, right? Act, continue acting? Xiao Ji looked at Peng Zhan mockingly. Peng Zhan, the panic on your face when you were on the phone already sold you out. Stop pretending, Songshan is only this big, how can you hide the news? Peng Zhan said mockingly. Say what you want, Mr. Xiao. If you insist, then there's nothing I can do. Peng Zhan shrugged. I'm busy, Mr. Xiao, please do as you please. Peng Zhan, don't be ungrateful. Xiao Ji was furious after hearing Peng Zhan's words. Don't fucking refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Mr. Xiao, feel free to use whatever tricks you have. If it's purely a commercial attack, then do as you please. Peng Zhan smiled. If you want to keep threatening me, then so be it. I'm going to work now, you can continue. Peng Zhan. Just you wait. I'll make you kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. Xiao Ji was infuriated. Peng Zhan was still so stubborn even at a time like this? Big brother, since Mr. Chu is so stubborn, there's nothing we can do. Xiao Ben said faintly, but the public security has not been very good recently. I heard that there have been a series of disappearances. Lin Yi is injured again, please don't let your daughter get lost. Xiao Ben, what do you mean? Peng Zhan's eyebrows furrowed. Despite his good manners, he couldn't help but get angry. Xiao Ben, are you forcing me? Don't think that I, Peng Zhan, am afraid of you just because you have two masters from House Pai in your Xiao family. Peng Zhan's words were spoken with confidence. When the masters from House Pai came to the Xiao family, Peng Zhan had discussed this with Faubert. When Peng Zhan heard that Faubert had recovered to the peak of the late phase of the golden class, he was relieved. Faubert said that he was a spiritual master now, and could fight evenly with a physical master who was one level higher than him. Even if that didn't work out, there was General Wei Wu, a dog who was at the peak of the late phase of the golden class. 2 against 1, they would be able to kill that early phase mystic no matter what. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was at the middle phase of the mystic class. He could barely fight a physical master who was at the peak of the late phase of the mystic class. If they were to fight an all-out battle, it was hard to say who would win. So now that Peng Zhan knew that Lin Yi was fine, he wasn't afraid of the Xiao family. Good, very good. Peng Zhan, we'll see. Xiao Ben nodded and didn't say anything else. He pulled his brother Xiao Ji out of Peng Zhan's office. He believed that Lin Yi was injured and Peng Zhan's panic couldn't escape Xiao Ben's eyes. But why did Peng Zhan have such confidence after that? What did Lin Yi say to him after that? Xiao Ben's IQ was higher than Xiao Ji's, so he wondered if he had overlooked something. After exiting Peng Zhan Industries, Xiao Ji was still cursing. Brother, don't you think this Peng Zhan doesn't know what's good for him? Does he really think that with Lin Yi he can save him? Bro, there's something strange about this. Xiao Ben said after a sigh. Peng Zhan's panic when he heard that Lin Yi was in the hospital wasn't fake, but he was full of confidence after that. What's the reason? Yeah brother, what you're saying makes sense. Is there something going on here? Xiao Ji calmed down and felt that Xiao Ben's words made sense. He was a rough guy but he listened to Xiao Ben. Let me think. Xiao Ben got into the car and closed his eyes, putting his hands on his temples. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Xiao Ji didn't want to disturb him, so he sat beside Xiao Ben. Let's go. Ed, are we going home or to the hospital? The driver didn't know where to go, so he asked. Hospital. Right, the hospital. Xiao Ben cried out as he opened his eyes. Master Air, are we going to the hospital? The driver was startled by Xiao Ben's cry as he asked carefully. No, let's go home. Xiao Ben said to the driver before turning to Xiao Ji. Brother, I've thought it through. Xiao Ji quickly asked. Brother, what's going on? Isn't Lin Yi in the hospital now? Elder Pai and Mr. Pai are there as well. Do you think Lin Yi would run into them? Xiao Ben analyzed word by word. If Lin Yi knew that Elder Pai and Mr. Pai were injured as well, wouldn't he have nothing to fear? Peng Zhan wouldn't have to worry either, since our masters are in the hospital as well. That's possible. After Xiao Ji heard Xiao Ben's words, he nodded in agreement. That should be it. But we booked a private room, so how did Lin Yi see it? I don't know about that, but it's just a guess. Xiao Ben said, there's another possibility. Lin Yi's injuries can recover very quickly, so even if Peng Zhan knew that Lin Yi was injured, he wouldn't be afraid of us. Recover very quickly? Xiao Ji pondered. Chapter 1202. The difference in injuries, what does that mean? Xiaoji paused. Could it be that House Chu wasn't pretending to be weak last time? That Lin Yi pretended to be injured to confuse us? That's not it. Xiao Ben waved his hand. What you said is possible, but it's not very likely. Pengzhan is a busy man, and if Lin Yi was fine a long time ago, why would Pengzhan bother with us? Could it be that he has nothing better to do? Plus, what benefits does he get from doing this? He doesn't get anything. There's not much of a difference between Lin Yi stepping out earlier and later. That makes sense. But Xiaoji nodded. So you're saying that Lin Yi's recovery ability is very strong? Yes, so I'm guessing that Lin Yi hinted to Pengzhan that although he's injured, he'll recover soon, so that's why Pengzhan isn't afraid. Xiao Ben agreed. This is the only possibility that boosts Pengzhan's confidence. Then what should we do now? Xiao Ji said, now that the two masters from House Pai are hospitalized, there's nothing we can threaten Pengzhan with. I'll discuss with my business partners first, and see if we can control and suppress Pengzhan Industries through the stock price. As long as we earn some profits for House Pai, I believe that the two masters from House Pai will stand up for us after they recover. Xiao Ben said, of course we have to make use of House Pai's profits. Yes, that's true. Let's do that then. Xiao Ji relaxed after hearing that. In the hospital, Lin Yi saw Yu Yuan, a pretty girl. Although she couldn't compare to Tang Yun and the Miss, she was still a pretty girl. If she really married Heir Gooden, it would be Heir Gooden's fortune. It could be seen that Yu Yuan was the type of girl who knew her place, giving off a quiet and gentle feeling. Yuan, this is my boss. You can call him boss too. Heir Gooden brought Lin Yi to Mrs. Yu's room and introduced Lin Yi to Yuan. Hello, boss. Yuan nodded politely to Lin Yi, but looking at Lin Yi's clothes, he didn't look like a country bumpkin at all. This was Gooden's boss? Lin Yi smiled. Hello, shall we take a look at your mother's injuries first? Okay. Yuan quickly moved aside and let Lin Yi go to her mother's bed. Mrs. Yu looked at Lin Yi in shock. Although she heard from Heir Gooden that his boss was a miracle doctor and could cure her leg, she still couldn't believe it when she saw how young Lin Yi was. Do you have an x-ray? Let me take a look first. Lin Yi took a look at Mama Yu's leg. It was covered in plaster and nothing could be seen from the outside. Hence he turned to ask Yuan. Yes. Yuan nodded. The x-ray is with Dad. He went out to buy food. I'll call him now. Don't worry, he should be back soon. Lin Yi waved his hand and asked Mrs. Yu, Auntie, how do you feel now? Does it still hurt? It hurts, it's been hurting for a long time. The doctor said that the bone was crushed, how can it not hurt? Mrs. Yu sighed. Young man, if it's difficult for you, don't bother. Just try your best. I've gotten over it these few days. Let's take a look at the x-ray later. Lin Yi smiled. Auntie, don't worry. Since you're Heir Gooden's elder, you might even be his mother-in-law in the future. No matter how hard it is, I'll find a way to help you stand up. Our hometown is quite far away. How are you going to get there if your leg isn't working? We even have a mountain there. It's fun. You can ask Heir Gooden to catch some wild animals for you. Lin Yi pointed out the relationship between Heir Gooden and Yuan as they chatted. He also pointed out where Heir Gooden's hometown was. This was also a warning to Yuan. Although Heir Gooden was simple, he wasn't stupid. After hearing Lin Yi's words, he looked at Lin Yi gratefully. He knew that Lin Yi was helping him. Then I'll have to trouble you. Mrs. Yu heard Lin Yi's words and heaved a sigh of relief. If Lin Yi could say that, he must have some confidence. Mrs. Yu understood Heir Gooden's personality. He wasn't someone who talked big. His boss should be a righteous person as well. Otherwise, Heir Gooden wouldn't call him boss. Yuan blushed after hearing Lin Yi's words. Although she and Heir Gooden had feelings for each other, they didn't say it out loud. Now that Lin Yi said it, it made Yuan shy. She lowered her head, not daring to look at Heir Gooden. However, Yuan was happy that her mother didn't refute Lin Yi's words. This meant that her mother agreed to her being with Heir Gooden. After a while, Yu came in with a few lunch boxes. He paused when he saw Lin Yi in the room. Uncle Yu, this is my boss Lin Yi. He's here to treat Auntie. Heir Gooden introduced Lin Yi to Yu. Uncle Yu, where's the x-ray? Boss wants to see it. Hello. Yu quickly nodded to Lin Yi and said politely, I'll go get it now, please wait for a moment. Yu didn't doubt Lin Yi's young age. Heir Gooden was a steady person. He wouldn't do anything unreliable. Although he was surprised how he managed to contact Lin Yi, it wasn't the time to ask. Yu found the x-ray and gave it to Lin Yi. Lin Yi took it out and looked at it carefully. The leg bone was completely shattered. This meant that the lion had bitten off her entire leg. Although it was reattached, it would still be missing a piece in the future. Even if it recovered, she would be limping. If it didn't recover well, it would be hard for her to stand up. Lin Yi wanted to use medicine and acupuncture to treat it, but it seemed like it wouldn't work. After all, a piece of bone was missing. Acupuncture and medicine wouldn't be able to fix it. The good thing was that she was just injured not long ago. It hadn't fully healed yet. So Lin Yi could use energy to heal Mrs. Yu's injury. If he waited until Mrs. Yu's injury was fully healed, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to save her even if he used his pure energy. After all, pure energy couldn't do anything to a healed wound. It was a qualitative change. It was different from a fresh wound. Chapter 1203. It can be healed, but I need to break the plaster on Auntie's leg. Is that okay? Lin Yi looked at Mrs. Yu and asked. That. Of course. Mrs. Yu hesitated and nodded. Although she didn't know how Lin Yi was going to heal her, she knew that Lin Yi wouldn't harm her, so she agreed. Yuan was a little nervous. After all, Lin Yi's method was a little weird. He needed to break the plaster. Didn't a broken bone need a plaster? Why would he break it? It's fine. Boss knows what he's doing. If he wasn't confident, he wouldn't do this. Gooden looked at Yuan and comforted her. The plaster's hardness was nothing to Lin Yi. He could break it with his bare hands. Soon, half of the plaster on Mrs. Yu's leg was removed by Lin Yi. At this time, the doctor walked in and saw Lin Yi breaking the plaster on Mrs. Yu's leg. He was shocked. What are you doing? Healing. My name is Lin Yi, I'm Guan Shuamin's disciple. Din Qin knows me. You can give him a call. Lin Yi said calmly. With Xiaofen's incident as an example, Lin Yi didn't wait for the doctor to say anything and explained to him directly. As expected, the doctor's expression changed when he heard that Lin Yi was Guan Shuamin's disciple. Although he didn't know what Lin Yi was doing, Guan Shuamin was a famous professor. Recently, Miracle Dr. Guan's name was very famous. The doctor didn't say anything more. He walked to the door and called Din Qin. After confirming Lin Yi's identity, he closed the door and didn't disturb Lin Yi anymore. Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine was a miracle medicine for external injuries, so the doctor believed that Guan Shuamin's disciple must have a deep understanding of external injuries as well. He wasn't worried about leaving this to Lin Yi. Although he also wanted to go in and see what was going on, Lin Yi did not ask him to stay. It was not good for him to secretly learn anything. Moreover, he was not a Chinese medicine practitioner, so he could not learn anything even if he went to see it. Yu Rin, Mrs. Yu, and Yuan were all relieved when they saw the doctor leave after Lin Yi told them a name. It seemed like Gooden's boss was indeed different. After Lin Yi broke the plaster, he removed all the gauze on Mother Yu's leg. Mother Yu grimaced in pain, but she endured the pain and didn't make a sound. After all, she was afraid that it would affect Lin Yi and distract him. It hurts a little, right? Don't worry, I'll be fine in a while and I'll be able to walk. Lin Yi smiled and said. Mother Yu heard the first half of Lin Yi's sentence and didn't think much of it, but when she heard the second half, her eyes widened in shock. Able to walk in a while? How was that possible? Even a miracle doctor couldn't cure her injury in a short time, right? After Lin Yi said this, he inserted a few needles into Mother Yu's injury and placed both of his hands on her leg, channeling the art of dragon mastery. At this moment, Lin Yi didn't enter his sleeping state. After all, healing Mother Yu's injury didn't require much pure energy. Even if he wanted to replenish it, he could replenish it at night. There was no need to sleep now. Mother Yu looked at Lin Yi strangely. Suddenly, she felt a warm current coming from her leg. It was extremely comfortable, and the injury from before wasn't as painful anymore. Mother Yu raised her head in surprise. It seems to be working? Haha, I'll use acupuncture and pure energy to heal your injury. There's no pain, Lin Yi said. Pure energy? Mother Yu and Yu Rin exclaimed at the same time. What was pure energy? They had heard about it on TV and in Wuxia novels, but did it exist in real life? Boss is a martial arts master, Gooden explained. But after hearing Gooden's explanation, Mother Yu, Yu Ren, and Yuan all thought of Gooden's shocking feat. Gooden could kill Fighter Li with one punch, so his martial arts were obviously not weak. Gooden's boss must be even stronger. If he wasn't a martial arts master, then what was he? Zhou Jiaming, you're a martial arts master too, right? Yuan looked at Gooden and asked with admiration. Meh. I don't count, I'm just a little stronger, I'm not a martial arts master. Gooden was telling the truth. The difference between him and Lin Yi was quite big. But in my eyes, you're a big hero. Yuan said softly, a little embarrassed. Ah, eh. Gooden scratched his head and smiled honestly. It seemed like the relationship between the two had some substantial progress after what his boss said. It's done. Lin Yi put away the needles on Mother Yu's leg and stood up, saying casually. It's done? Mother Yu froze. Yu Ren, Yu Yuan, and even Gooden froze. They didn't think that in such a short amount of time Lin Yi would say that it was done. Even Gooden was shocked. Although old Lin was a famous doctor in the surrounding villages, it would take at least 10 days to half a month to heal a leg injury. But someone like Lin Yi healing it in half an hour, that was unheard of. Auntie, let's take a walk. You've been lying down for so many days, you should be tired of it, right? Lin Yi said with a smile. Mother Yu wanted to say something, but she glanced at her leg. There was no wound at all. It was as clean as before, not even a scar was left. Mother Yu felt that her leg really didn't hurt anymore. It didn't hurt at all. Then Mama Yu was so agitated that she couldn't speak. My leg. My leg. Mom, what happened to your leg? Yu Yuan quickly walked over, but when she saw her mother's leg, she gasped and covered her mouth in disbelief. Yu Ren and Gooden came over too. When they saw that there was no wound at all, they widened their eyes in shock. Mother Yu saw the shocking change in her leg and believed it a little. She gritted her teeth and sat up from the bed, getting down. Chapter 1204. Emotional Kong Xiaobo, I'm really healed? Yuan Lao Yu, take a look. Is my leg really healed? Mrs. Yu paced around the house in disbelief, fearing that she was dreaming. Auntie, you're really fine. Gooden was the happiest at the moment. Lin Yi cured Mrs. Yu's injury, it made him feel proud. Auntie, you can leave now. I still have something to do, I'll leave first. Lin Yi was worried about Mr. Tang and Fin's condition, he prepared to treat them. You can't leave, you cured my illness, we need to thank you. Old Yu and I will cook tonight, do you want to cook something? Mrs. Yu panicked when she heard that Lin Yi was leaving. I really have something to do. Gooden came this time to get me the medicine. I need to use this medicine to treat my girlfriend's father, I can't delay it. Lin Yi explained like this, giving Mrs. Yu a reason why he had to leave. I see. As expected, Mrs. Yu heard Lin Yi's words and didn't try to stop him. Lin Yi was in a hurry to treat his girlfriend's father, how could she stop him? Just like how Gooden was in a hurry to get Lin Yi to treat his injury, Gooden was also in a hurry. But hearing that Lin Yi came to treat her first, Mrs. Yu was very touched. It seemed like Lin Yi treated Gooden really well. Yu Yuan could find a husband like this, and to have a big brother like this, it was really her and Gooden's fortune. Haha, auntie, didn't I say it already? With Gooden's relationship, we're not outsiders anymore. I'm Gooden's boss, so I'm Yu Yuan's big brother, right? So don't stand on ceremony when there's a chance, let's have a meal together. Lin Yi smiled. Alright, since you said so, I won't be unreasonable. You can go ahead with your work. When you're free, tell me and I'll prepare a feast for you. Mother Yu said hurriedly. I can also make fried chicken and hamburgers. Yu Yuan also smiled and added, Brother, come to my house, I will cook for you. Yu Yuan felt that big brother was a good way to address him. Okay, my two girls might like to eat this. I'll bring them over to eat some other day. Lin Yi laughed. Little girl? Yu Yuan was surprised. Boss friends, one of them is his mistress. Gooden explained. He'd seen Mingyao and Yushu before, they were as pretty as goddesses. Concubine? Yu Yuan was even more stunned. Gooden misunderstood, it's just a girl who likes to mess around. She was just messing with him and he believed her. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Is that so? Yu Yuan nodded and didn't ask any more. Whether or not Lin Yi had a concubine didn't have much to do with her, as long as she and Gooden were on good terms. Lin Yi left the room after thanking Yu Renha and his mother profusely. The doctor who came in for a round walked around and was about to return to the on-call room. He raised his head and saw Mother Yu walking out of the ward, sending Lin Yi off gratefully. The doctor felt like he was struck by lightning. No way? What was going on? How did Mother Yu's leg recover? Wasn't this too unbelievable? Her bones were broken by a lion, but she could walk now? What was this? Medical skills. Lin Yi walked out of the ward and went to Tang Juqing's ward. But when he got there, other than a nurse who was cleaning, there was no one else. The ward was empty, Tang Yun's luggage was gone too. Excuse me, where are the people here? Lin Yi knocked on the door and asked. They have already checked out, what's the matter? The nurse raised her head and asked. Checked out? Lin Yi was stunned, then he waved his hand and said, It's nothing. Yun, where are you? Lin Yi called Tang Yun directly and asked. I'm on the way to our new house. The new house is ready, so we checked out of the hospital and are preparing to move to our new house. Tang Yun said. Moving? Why didn't you tell me beforehand? Lin Yi asked with a bit of blame. If you told me earlier, I would have been able to help you. It's fine, hee. Tang Yun smiled. Tang Yin smiled. Fan's family is moving today as well, and Xiaobo borrowed a car from Fatty Lai so our families can go together. I see. Lin Yi nodded. Since there was a car, it was good, so he said, Yun, Uncle Tang's leg can be treated now. I've got the medicine. How about I go to your new house now? Can be treated? Really? Tang Yun was suddenly happy and said, Okay, come to the new house directly, we'll be there soon. Okay. Lin Yi smiled and hung up the phone. After hanging up the phone with Tang Yun, Lin Yi called Kang Xiaobo. Boss, where are you? Why didn't you come? Kang Xiaobo picked up the phone and asked with some doubts. You still say I didn't come? Yun's family is moving today, why didn't you tell me? Lin Yi asked. Oh, you didn't know? Kang Xiaobo was stunned after listening to Lin Yi's words. How would I know if you didn't tell me? Lin Yi was a little dumbfounded. I thought Tang Yun would tell you. How would I know that she didn't say it? Kang Xiaobo suddenly smiled bitterly. Boss, you can't blame me? Okay, I'm just telling you, take Xiaofan to Yun's house later. I got the medicine to treat her leg injury. I just happened to be treating Uncle Tang so we can treat together. Lin Yi said. Are you serious? Boss, thank you so much. After listening to Lin Yi's words, Kang Xiaobo felt a burst of warmth in his heart. Lin Yi had always put Xiaofan's matter in his heart, which made Kang Xiaobo very touched. Although Kang Xiaobo didn't care whether Xiaofan's leg was really lame, even if it was like this for the rest of her life, Kang Xiaobo still loved her. But if she could be like a normal person, then Kang Xiaobo would find a way to make her return to normal no matter what. Kang Xiaobo didn't care about other people's eyes, but how painful would it be for a girl like Xiaofan? After knowing this good news, Kang Xiaobo almost jumped in joy. He hugged Xiaofan beside him and he was extremely excited. What are you doing? Xiaofan was shocked by Kang Xiaobo's sudden action. Her parents were still on the side and Kang Xiaobo made such a bold move. What was he going to do? Although their relationship had been set, it wasn't good to be so intimate in front of adults, right? Chapter 1205. A little strength, Xiaofan exclaimed. At this moment she felt emotional and complicated. After so many years, there was almost no possibility for her leg to recover. But now Kang Xiaobo told her that it could be cured. Previously, after Xiaofan was dumped by Kang Mingming, she was disheartened and her life was filled with darkness. As for whether her leg was cured or not, it didn't matter. But ever since she fell in love with Kang Xiaobo, although Xiaofan didn't say anything, she would always cry and hate herself in the dead of night. How foolish was she to get her leg injured by a car because of a bad person becoming a cripple? Now that she thought about it, how unworthy was it? How she let down Kang Xiaobo. She was no longer innocent and she already let down Kang Xiaobo. Furthermore, her leg was damaged because of Kang Mingming. Xiaofan felt even more guilty. She felt that she wasn't worthy of Kang Xiaobo, and she blamed herself to the core. But Kang Xiaobo didn't care about it, and Xiaofan became even more depressed. It was almost becoming her heart disease. And at this moment, Kang Xiaobo told her that there was hope for her leg. Someone else said this, Xiaofan might not believe it. But it was Lin Yi, Kang Xiaobo's boss, who said it. Xiaofan believed it. Back then, during Dr. Kang's banquet, Lin Yi gave her and Kang Xiaobo the courage to stand in front of Kang Mingming's family for the first time. Then Kang Xiaobo slowly built up his career and status. He even had a house and money. All of this was thanks to Lin Yi, the boss of her lover. So, when Kang Xiaobo told Xiaofan the good news, Xiaofan didn't doubt it and immediately cheered. That's great. Xiaobo, help me thank the boss. Ha, of course. I've already thanked them. Xiaobo said with a smile. Tang Yun and Xiaofan's family basically started the renovation at the same time. With Fatty Lai's help, they worked overtime day and night. The new house had been completely tidied up. Not only did they have all the furniture and appliances, they even had daily necessities like pots and pans. Lin Yi couldn't help but praise Fatty Lai in his heart for being a very reliable person. Lil, don't leave now that you're here. Auntie's cooking tonight, it's like the new house is on fire. Mrs. Tang smiled as she looked at Lin Yi. The more she looked at him, the more she liked him. She was 100% satisfied with this son-in-law of hers. Not to mention the benefits he brought to the family, he even said he could cure old Tang's illness today. Now that Tang Juqing's leg was healed, he was in a good mood. He could also do some business with Mrs. Tang. This way the family's life would be better. Alright. Lin Yi didn't reject it. Since he had decided to be with Tang Yun, he wouldn't be polite with Mrs. Tang. Lin Yi also noticed that the more polite he was to Mrs. Tang, the more uncomfortable she felt. She thought that they were estranged, so it was better to be more easygoing. That's great. Yun, accompany Lil Yi and treat your father and Xiaofan. Xiaofan's mother and I will go to the market to buy some delicious food, Mrs. Tang said happily. Lin Yi already knew Tang Juqing and Xiaofan's legs like the back of his hand. He had done a detailed examination before. Now, he only needed to use the nerve stimulation medicine to repair the nerves. Combined with acupuncture, it wouldn't be difficult for them to recover. Lin Yi, what do you need me to do? Tang Yun brought Lin Yi to her father's room and asked. No need. Just watch from the side and don't let anyone disturb me. Lin Yi smiled and asked Tang Juqing, who was lying on the bed, Uncle Tang, are you ready? I will stimulate the nerves later. It might be very painful. It's fine. It's nothing, Tang Juqing smiled indifferently. I have already survived the surgery. What's there to be afraid of? As long as I can stand up, I don't care how much pain I have to endure. Otherwise, I won't be able to do anything with my legs being inconvenient every day. All right. Lin Yi nodded and began to treat Tang Juqing. See, when the silver needle dipped in the medicine was inserted into the acupuncture point on Tang Juqing's leg, Tang Juqing couldn't help but take a deep breath. It wasn't just a matter of pain. It was extremely painful. One had to know that the nerves were very sensitive. Especially when Lin Yi used the nerve stimulation medicine to stimulate the nerves in Tang Juqing's leg, Tang Juqing directly sat up from the bed with a head full of cold sweat. Tang Yun's heart tightened when she saw her father's expression. She nervously looked at Lin Yi, but when she saw that Lin Yi's expression was normal, she let out a sigh of relief. Dad, bear with it. Don't affect Lin Yi's treatment, okay? Tang Juqing clenched his teeth. Naturally, he knew that if he moved, it would affect Lin Yi's treatment. Lin Yi smiled slightly and said, Uncle Tang, don't be nervous. Think about the interesting things in the past and it will be over. For example, the past when you and Andy were friends? Haha. Tang Juqing heard Lin Yi's words and couldn't help but laugh. A fascinated expression appeared on his face. It was obvious that he was thinking about the past. Tang Yun, on the other hand, glared at Lin Yi. This guy had no respect for his elders. How dare he say anything? Yun, you don't know. Back then, your mother was a flower in the factory. Your old man, I was able to win a beauty back then. I have a certain level of ability too. Tang Juqing's leg didn't hurt as much anymore when he talked about the past. Dad. Tang Yun blushed when she heard her father's playful words. Haha, it's nothing. You're already so old. We're already friends. What's there to be embarrassed about? Tang Juqing laughed and said nonchalantly, but Yun, you're even prettier than your mother back then. Dad. Tang Yun's face turned from red to black. That's right, Uncle Tang. Yun is also the campus beauty in our school. I also won a beauty back then. I have a certain level of ability too. Lin Yi said shamelessly. Tang Yun was stunned. She almost lost her balance and fell to the ground. What the hell was Lin Yi talking about? Why was he becoming more and more playful? Tang Yun raised her eyebrows and wanted to stop Lin Yi from talking nonsense. However, Tang Juqing laughed heartily. Yeah, you're also capable. Otherwise, Yun wouldn't be so infatuated with you with her high standards. Dad, when did I fall in love with you? Tang Yun widened her eyes and looked at her father, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Last time, you misunderstood that Lin Yi didn't want you anymore. Didn't you cry your heart out? Tang Juqing laughed. Chapter 1206. Distraction. Dad, I'm going out. Tang Yun turned around to leave. However, Lin Yi smiled and put away the silver needles on Tang Juqing's leg. Okay, Uncle Tang, stand up and take a walk? That's it? Tang Juqing was surprised. He didn't think that talking to Lin Yi would divert his attention. Unknowingly, the treatment was completed. Tang Juqing didn't feel any pain. Tang Yun realized that Lin Yi was talking nonsense with her father to distract her father and lessen his pain. She couldn't blame Lin Yi, but it was too embarrassing. Tang Juqing got off the bed and prepared to walk around the room twice. In fact, he could already walk slowly with his legs. Although he was limping a little, it was fine to walk slowly. However, this time, after Tang Juqing got off the bed, he almost tripped and fell when he walked away. Dad. Tang Yun was shocked and quickly ran over to support Tang Juqing. However, she was confused. Dad, what's wrong? Wasn't there a problem with your left leg? Why does it seem like there's a problem with your right leg now? I don't know. Tang Juqing was confused. It was his left leg before, but now it was his right leg. Did the disease not get cured and move to another place? Tang Yun quickly helped Tang Juqing to walk 2 more steps, but Tang Juqing's steps were still uneven. If it weren't for Tang Yun's support, he would have fallen to the ground already. Uncle Tang, You still don't think of yourself as a normal person. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile at the scene in front of him. You're still using your left leg when you're walking, but now that both your legs are working normally, you're using one leg and not the other, and the two legs aren't evenly distributed. It's only natural that you can't walk stably. Is that so? Tang Juqing was surprised. He carefully thought about how he walked just now and it did seem to be the case. However, he didn't do it on purpose. It was just a habit. He used to walk this way, so he still walked this way subconsciously. It was no wonder that he was in deep trouble, it was because of this reason. Thinking of this, Tang Juqing tried to use the same amount of strength to walk. Sure enough, he didn't stagger like before. Instead, he slowly became normal. Tang Yin covered her mouth in shock. Dad, it looks like your leg's healed. Well, it seems like there's really no problem. After taking 2 steps, Tang Juqing laughed happily. It's done, it's really done. Of course it's fine. Once you get used to it, you'll be no different from a normal person. Lin Yi smiled. Yin, let's go out and take a look. Xiaofan should be here too, right? Kang Xiaobo and Xiaofan went to Xiaofan's house first. After settling down there, they went to Tang Yin's house. At this moment, they were waiting in the living room. They knew that Lin Yi was treating Tang Juqing, so they didn't disturb him. When the bedroom door opened, Lin Yi walked in front while Tang Juqing and Tang Yun walked behind. Although Tang Juqing walked very slowly, he didn't need Tang Yun's support. However, Tang Yun was afraid that he would fall, so she still protected him by his side. But even so, it gave Kang Xiaobo and Xiaofan a huge shock. Tang Juqing's leg was even more serious than Xiaofan's. He was the kind of person who couldn't get up from the bed. But after witnessing a miracle step by step, Tang Juqing could finally walk steadily. No one would believe it if they said that it wasn't Lin Yi's doing. Kang Xiaobo stood up and looked excited. Uncle Tang, congratulations. Your leg is all healed? It's done. It's all healed. You can finally stand up and walk. Tang Juqing was really happy. At the same time, he was proud to have such a powerful son-in-law like Lin Yi. It was all thanks to Lin Yi's hard work that his family had gone from a poor family in the slums to a well-off family now. Most importantly, Lin Yi still doted on his daughter. This was what made Tang Juqing feel the most gratified. Kang Xiaobo's excitement was actually for Xiaofan. If Tang Juqing's leg was healed, then Xiaofan's leg would naturally be saved. Xiaobo, bring Xiaofan to the bedroom. Lin Yi looked at Kang Xiaobo's excited expression and smiled. Boss, aren't you going to rest for a while? Although Kang Xiaobo was anxious, he saw that Lin Yi had just treated Tang Juqing's leg. It should be tiring, so he should rest for a while, right? It's fine. Looking at your anxious expression, I'm afraid you can't wait, right? Lin Yi smiled. Not really. Kang Xiaobo was a little embarrassed, but he still brought Xiaofan to the bedroom. Uncle Tang, walk around by yourself first. You'll be fine if you walk slowly. I'll go and treat Xiaofan, Lin Yi said to Tang Juqing. Alright, don't worry about me. You go do what you need to do. After Tang Juqing walked a few laps, he gradually grasped the technique of using his strength. The more he walked, the more agile he became. But then again, this leg was originally his, so it was quite easy to control. He didn't need to practice much and he was already walking very well. This was also thanks to Tang Juqing's recovery training. Although he was limping, he had already recovered the muscle strength in his leg, which was why he was so skilled now. After entering the bedroom, Lin Yi looked at Xiaofan, and he was a little troubled. Most of the nerves in the leg were concentrated at the base of the thigh. It didn't matter when he was treating Tang Juqing. Tang Juqing was a man, so he only needed to wear underwear. In front of Lin Yi and his daughter, he didn't need to cover up too much. But Xiaofan was different. She was a girl and she didn't have a close relationship with Lin Yi. It would be difficult for her to wear underwear in front of Lin Yi. Boss, what's wrong? Kang Xiaobo saw Lin Yi frowning and he thought that Lin Yi was a little tired. So he quickly said, Boss, you should rest for a while. It's fine. Since you got the solution, isn't it just a matter of time for Xiaofan to recover? You don't have to rush. No, Xiaobo, you've misunderstood. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, during the treatment you have to take off your pants, leaving only underwear. Xiaofan is a girl, isn't this too inconvenient? Chapter 1207. Xiao Xiao fainted again. Xiaobo, what kind of nonsense are you talking about? Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry after hearing Kang Xiaobo's words. I'm not talking about what you are thinking, I'm just worried that Xiaofan will be embarrassed. What's the point of saying so much? Tang Yin didn't know what to say as well. She knew that Lin Yi wouldn't have any dirty thoughts towards Xiaofan. She heard that when Lin Yi was treating Meng Yao was naked. Lin Yi didn't do anything to Meng Yao, so why would he have any dirty thoughts towards Xiaofun? So Tang Yun trusted Linny very much. She said to Xiaofun, "Xiaofun, I'll help you take off your pants?" Xiaofun nodded. Although she was a little shy, she knew that Linny was doing this out of kindness. He wouldn't have any dirty thoughts towards her. She and Tang Yun weren't on the same level, and with Tang Yun by her side, Linny would have any dirty thoughts towards her unless he was blind. With that thought, Xiaofun stopped being shy and unbuckled her belt. With Tang Yun's help, she took off her pants, revealing her fair legs. It was quite sexy and beautiful. Tang Yun and Xiaofun sneaked a glance at Lin Yi and realized that his eyes were clear without any lust. He was seriously observing the position of the needle. On the other hand, Kang Xiaobo looked like he was drooling. This made Tang Yun smile, but Xiaofun was helpless. She glared at Kang Xiaobo and said, "Can you be more serious?" "Hehe, I was thinking, wifey, if your legs are healed, wouldn't you become a first-class beauty? I really picked you up." Kang Xiaobo laughed. Xiaofun turned her head and ignored him. Although Xiaofun and Kang Xiaobo had been together for a period of time, the two of them didn't cross the boundary. It wasn't that Kang Xiaobo didn't want to, but he felt that it wasn't the right time. Although the knot in Xiaofun's heart was untied, her leg injury wasn't completely healed. In this situation, Xiaofun definitely wouldn't feel comfortable in her heart. Therefore, Kang Xiaobo was drooling over Xiaofun's exposed legs. "Stop laughing. Go hug your wife and tell her some jokes or something." Lin Yi instructed Kang Xiaobo, "It will be very painful when I insert the needle. Distract her attention." "Okay." Kang Xiaobo heard Lin Yi's words and quickly walked over. He hugged Xiaofun and began to tell her jokes. There was a person called Zhong Pingliang. He fell in love with the campus belle Chu Mengyao. Kang Xiaobo began to tell Xiaofun about Zhong Pingliang's embarrassing past. These were all things that happened in his class. Xiaofun didn't know about it, but she didn't go to high school. She listened with great interest. Lin Yi inserted the needle quickly. Xiaofun grimaced in pain, but she was distracted by Kang Xiaobo, so the treatment went smoothly. There were many rumors about Lin Yi in school, but Tang Yun didn't like Lin Yi and disliked Lin Yi, so she didn't care about the rumors about Lin Yi. Later on, she got together with Lin Yi, and Lin Yi kept a low profile, so the rumors about him decreased. So she didn't know that Lin Yi peed all over Zhong Pingliang's face in the toilet, and that he fought with Heibao Bro during the exercise break. Now that she heard it from Kang Xiaobo, even Tang Yun couldn't help but laugh. "I didn't think that Zhong Pingliang would be so unlucky." Tang Yun sighed. However, any bad guy would be unlucky if they met Lin Yi. Didn't Zhou Ruoming, Zhao Qibing, and the others get taught a lesson by Lin Yi? Haha. Lin Yi laughed and put away all the needles on Xiaofun's leg. "Alright, try walking." "Ah? It's done?" Xiaofun's forehead was covered in sweat from the pain. Although she hoped that Lin Yi would finish the treatment soon, she also hoped that Lin Yi could cure her in one go. She wanted to become a normal person too much. "And Xiaobo, try walking with her. Hold her, don't let her fall," Lin Yi instructed. As soon as Lin Yi finished his sentence, Lin Yi's phone rang. Lin Yi took out his phone and looked at the caller ID. What he saw made him pause. The phone call was from Feng Tianlong. Why would he call him at this time? "Hello, Uncle Feng." Lin Yi quickly picked up. Where are you?" Xiao Xiao fainted again. "Can you come as soon as possible? The doctors here said that they can't do anything." Feng Tianlong's voice changed, filled with sorrow and anxiety. "Where is Xiao Xiao?" Lin Yi was shocked. Although he knew that this day wasn't far away, he didn't expect it to come so soon. "I'm at her apartment. Can you come now? I'll get Li to pick you up?" Feng Tianlong asked nervously. "No need, I'll go now. Don't worry, Uncle Feng. I'll be there soon. She'll be fine." Lin Yi hung up the phone, his eyebrows furrowed. He told Tianlong that Xiao Xiao would be fine, but he didn't have any confidence at all. "Lin Yi, what's wrong? What happened?" Tang Yun's heart tightened when she saw the change in Lin Yi's expression. "Yeah, boss, what's wrong?" Kang Xiaobo asked. Xiao Xiao fainted again. "I need to go check on her." Lin Yi said. Yun, help me tell Auntie that I won't be eating here tonight. Tell her I'm sorry, I'll be leaving first." "Wait, I'll go with you," Tang Yun said worriedly, worried that something might happen to Xiao Xiao. "Okay." Lin Yi saw the deep concern in Tang Yun's eyes. He knew that she wasn't faking it. She really was worried about Xiao Xiao. Logically speaking, for most women, if a girl who tried to steal their boyfriend died, then so be it. They would be overjoyed, so why would they care? But Tang Yun was different. She really cared about Xiao Xiao, just like when Meng Yao was poisoned last time. She was really worried about Meng Yao, and these weren't fake at all, they were her own thoughts. Lin Yi felt that he was very lucky to have such a generous and kind girlfriend. Boss, I want to go too. Kang Xiaobo and Xiao Xiao had a good relationship. When Xiao Xiao wanted to chase Lin Yi, he'd helped her plan before. So when he heard that Xiao Xiao fainted, Kang Xiaobo wanted to go as well. Chapter 1208. It's very strange, all right? Kang Xiaobo nodded and didn't say anything else. He had to listen to Lin Yi. After leaving the bedroom, Tang Yun said something to her dad and ran out with Lin Yi. They went downstairs and got in the car. Tang Yun finally let out a breath of relief. Lin Yi, you have a way to save Xiao Xiao, right? I'm not sure yet, we'll see. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Tang Yun couldn't help but fall silent after hearing Lin Yi's words. How could Tang Yun not understand what Lin Yi meant? Lin Yi meant that he wasn't confident. If it was something he was confident about, like when Lin Yi promised to cure her dad, he would definitely be able to cure her. But now Lin Yi said he'll see. So Tang Yun knew that Xiao Xiao was really in danger this time. Lin Yi ran through a couple of red lights and soon arrived at Xiao Xiao's district. Lin Yi and Tang Yun weren't unfamiliar with this place. After parking the car, Lin Yi rushed into Xiao Xiao's house. Tianlong opened the door for Lin Yi with a haggard face and Lin Yi asked anxiously, "How is it, Uncle Feng?" "This is Xiao Xiao's doctor, Head Lu. Head Lu, tell Lil Yi about Xiao Xiao's situation," Tianlong said to a doctor in a white coat not far from him. "Yes, Mr. Feng." Head Lu nodded. He didn't know what Lin Yi did, but he knew who Tianlong was. He didn't hide it and said directly, Miss Feng's illness this time was very sudden. We've tried our best, but all the rescue measures were useless. Miss Feng's vitals aren't very good and her physiological functions are deteriorating. Let me see." Lin Yi listened to Lu's words as he walked quickly to Xiao Xiao's sickbed. There were several tubes and wires connected to Xiao Xiao's body, and there were all sorts of instruments working. Lin Yi frowned at the sight. "Remove all these things." "Remove it?" Chief Surgeon Lu was stunned. "Listen to Yi, take them all off." Tianlong didn't know what Lin Yi meant, but since Lin Yi could save Xiao Xiao last time, he should be able to do the same this time. He just needed to listen to him. "Okay, Mr. Feng." Director Lu got Tianlong's approval and started removing the wires and tubes from Xiao Xiao's body with the other nurses. Tang Yun looked at the pale-faced Xiao Xiao lying on the sickbed, her heart aching. She had expected this day to come, but now that it had come, she still felt bad. "Lin Yi, can you save her? I'm begging you." Tang Yun looked at Xiao Xiao and couldn't bear to see her like this. After all this time, she had treated Xiao Xiao as her best friend. If anything happened to Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun would be very sad. Tang Yun's begging stunned Feng Tianlong. Other people didn't know, but they thought that Tang Yun was Xiao Xiao's best friend, so it was reasonable for them to worry for her. But Tianlong knew that his daughter was Tang Yun's love rival. According to the agreement, Tang Yun was the main wife and Xiao Xiao was the second wife, but no one would want to have a second wife, right? But Tang Yun was worried for Xiao Xiao. And judging from her expression, she wasn't faking it. What kind of person was Feng Tianlong? He was a secret agent, and his ability to read people was top-notch. If Tang Yun was pretending to be nice to him, Feng Tianlong would be able to tell with one look. But all he saw was sincerity and anxiousness, there was no pretense. At this moment, Tianlong was very touched and respectful. This girl was really generous and kind. It was Lin Yi's fortune to have a girlfriend like this. Compared to his daughter, he was probably a little more selfish, right? "Isn't she my girlfriend too? I'll try my best." Looking at Tang Yun, Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but he still said seriously, "Okay." Tang Yun nodded. Lin Yi held Xiao Xiao's hand and said to Tianlong, "Don't let anyone disturb me." "Okay, I understand." Feng Tianlong nodded and immediately ordered Li Yifeng behind him. "Little Li, guard the door, don't let anyone come in and disturb us." "Yes." Li Yifeng traced the gun at his waist and solemnly nodded. Then he quickly stood guard at the door. Lin Yi channeled the art of dragon mastery. He had a taste of Xiao Xiao's power last time, so this time, in order to prevent his energy from being sucked dry by Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi went into sleep mode and entered the jade space, using the energy in the space to support Xiao Xiao's absorption. Lin Yi's prediction was correct. Just like last time, as soon as he channeled the art of dragon mastery, the energy in the jade space surged into Xiao Xiao's body through his hand. But this time Lin Yi had it a little better. After all, the energy in the jade space was endless. But the next moment, Lin Yi was shocked. Because Lin Yi realized that the energy in the jade space wasn't enough for Xiao Xiao at all, and the energy in his body was flowing into Xiao Xiao's body bit by bit. This was the first time Lin Yi had encountered such a situation. Whether it was treating General Wei Wu or helping Falbert and Lingshan level up, He could transfer the energy into their bodies directly through the jade space. There had never been a situation like this. He felt that Xiao Xiao's body was strange, but he didn't expect it to be this strange. Lin Yi's face changed. Jiao Lao, what's going on? Strange. Extremely strange. Elder Jiao was also deep in thought. Her body is so strange, but it doesn't seem to have much effect even if you send in all that energy. Her life is about to run out, no amount of energy will help, it's just barely enough to keep her alive. It seems like it's impossible for her to wake up. What do you mean? Lin Yi heard Jiao Yazi's words and froze. Useless? How is it useless? Jiao Lao, you're saying that she's at the end of her life, and there's no use this time? Chapter 1209. There's no way, if that's the case then I'll try no matter what. Lin Yi heard Jiao Yazi's words and relaxed a little. Since Xiao Xiao could be saved last time, then it shouldn't be a problem this time as well. After all, Jiao Yazi said that his main body wasn't here, and his senses weren't very accurate. With that thought he let out a breath of relief. No matter what, it was fine as long as there was hope. Even if he had to transfer energy to Xiao Xiao every few days, as long as he had the jade space, he'd still have all the energy he needed. The energy in Lin Yi's body was flowing very slowly, but more than half of it went into Xiao Xiao's body, and the energy in the jade space was flowing into Xiao Xiao's body endlessly. Lin Yi was a little shocked. It seemed like Xiao Xiao didn't absorb all the energy in his body last time, but she was forced to stop because there was no more energy left. Time passed, but Xiao Xiao's body didn't stop absorbing Lin Yi's energy, and it didn't seem like it was slowing down at all. It was still rushing through Lin Yi's body. Half an hour. 1 hour. 2 hours. 5 hours. The energy in Lin Yi's body was flowing slowly, but it was getting lesser and lesser. It looked like it was going to be sucked dry by Xiao Xiao soon. This made Lin Yi grit his teeth and hold on, but at the same time he was panicking. Jiao Lao, what's going on? Her body seems to need energy non-stop, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop at all. Lin Yi's voice was panicking. I don't know, but it's weird, really weird. Her body has been absorbing the energy you're sending to her, but the energy doesn't seem to stay in her body. I don't know where it went. Jiao Yazi had a worried look on his face as well. It seemed like he didn't know what was going on with Xiao Xiao either. The last trace of energy in Lin Yi's body was sucked dry. Lin Yi knew that things might be different from what he had expected. According to his calculations, Xiao Xiao should have woken up long ago. Last time all he did was transfer his own energy to Xiao Xiao, and she woke up right away. But now, not only did he transfer his own energy to Xiao Xiao, but he also transferred a large amount of energy from the jade space to Xiao Xiao. To put it bluntly, if this energy was given to Faubert or Ling Shan, they'd have leveled up a long time ago. But Xiao Xiao was still lying on the bed, not moving at all. Lin Yi was sleeping, but he could sense what was going on outside. Xiao Xiao wasn't awake yet. With that thought, Lin Yi subconsciously stopped the art of dragon mastery. He couldn't keep transferring energy like this. His qi went into Xiao Xiao's body, but it didn't seem to stay at all. When he checked Xiao Xiao's body, she was still a normal person. There weren't any energy waves like General Wei Wu was familiar with. Lin Yi stopped the art of dragon mastery, and the energy transferred into Xiao Xiao's body stopped as well. Xiao Xiao's body couldn't absorb the energy from Lin Yi's body anymore, so she stopped. Lin Yi didn't have the time to recover his strength first. After all, Xiao Xiao's situation was more important. Recovering his strength later wasn't a problem, since it wouldn't affect him much in the short term. Lin Yi opened his eyes, and Tang Yun and Tianlong, who had been paying attention to Lin Yi's expression, quickly walked closer and asked, "How is it?" "It's weird. According to what happened last time, Xiao Xiao returned to normal after I transferred my qi over, but this time I used up all the qi in my body and there's no effect." Lin Yi smiled bitterly, not daring to talk about the jade space. After all, the jade space wasn't something that could be easily revealed to others. So Lin Yi only mentioned himself. Even so, Tianlong was shocked. "What? You gave all your qi to Xiao Xiao?" Tianlong's eyes widened. "Yes." Lin Yi smiled and didn't suppress his strength. He started the chant of the art of dragon mastery, and the weak qi in the air was activated by Lin Yi. At this moment, Tianlong could clearly feel Lin Yi's strength. It could be said that Lin Yi had no strength at all. Other than the qi in his body that was slightly stronger than a normal person, there was nothing else. "You lost all your strength? You lost all your strength for Xiao Xiao?" Tianlong looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. One had to know that Tianlong was a practitioner, and he knew how important strength was to a practitioner. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was sacrificing all his strength just to save Xiao Xiao. Just how deep did their relationship have to be to do something like this? Tianlong knew that he could do it because he was Xiao Xiao's father. The power of a father's love was boundless. But what was Lin Yi? Why would Lin Yi do this? Was it just because Xiao Xiao was his girlfriend for a few days? Their relationship wasn't that deep to the point where he was willing to sacrifice himself for her, right? I can recover and you don't have to worry about Feng sleeping? Lin Yi waved his hand. Now we need to think about Xiao Xiao. Why is it the same as last time? It worked last time but not this time? Tianlong and Tang Yun looked at each other. They knew that they couldn't help Lin Yi, so they didn't say anything. They just waited for Lin Yi to make his next move. Lin Yi was panicking as well. He could do it before but now he couldn't. What was going on? Lin Yi couldn't figure it out. He touched Xiao Xiao and checked the life force in her body. Sadly, Lin Yi realized that he didn't know where his energy went. There was no energy in Xiao Xiao's body at all. That boundless energy of his, if absorbed, would be enough to create an Earth class or even a Sky class. But Xiao Xiao's body was still empty. It seemed like he couldn't do it anymore. He had to call for help. Tianlong had said that he brought Xiao Xiao's mother to old Lin, and the old man couldn't do anything about it. But after so many years, the old man might be able to do something. Even if he couldn't do anything, at least there was a chance to save her life. With that thought, Lin Yi picked up his phone and called the old man, not bothering to hide from Tianlong and Tang Yun. Answer it quickly, answer it quickly. What are you doing, old man? Chapter 12:10. Frigid Chi. Finally, after a few rings, old Lin's lazy voice came from the other side. Is this Lily? Why did you call this old man? Did you see Air Gooden? Are you all right? Old man, let's not talk about this. I have something urgent to talk to you about. Lin Yi interrupted the old man. He was worried about Xiao Xiao's safety. He didn't have time to talk to the old man. What's the matter? What is it? Did something happen on your side? The old man's face tensed up, his tone turning from lazy to serious. There's a strange disease that you've seen before and you've treated it before but you couldn't do anything about it. Do you have a new way? Lin Yi didn't know how to explain it to the old man. He didn't have the time to describe Xiao Xiao's condition, and even if he did, he wouldn't be able to explain it clearly. After all, Lin Yi didn't know much about Xiao Xiao's condition. What strange disease? What are you talking about? Lin Yi's words confused the old man. He didn't know what disease he was talking about. Alright, I'll give the phone to Feng Tianlong and he'll talk to you. Lin Yi didn't want to waste time. Every second was precious and he couldn't waste any more time. It was better to let Feng Tianlong talk to the old man, and it would be easier than doing it himself. Feng Tianlong paused when he saw Lin Yi pass the phone over, but he still picked it up. Hello, I'm Feng Tianlong. Feng Tianlong? Feng Tianlong. Old Lin mumbled the name, and his thoughts opened up like a tidal wave. It was as if he had returned to his prime. That time, that friendship was irreplaceable. Hello? May I know who you are? Feng Tianlong was a bit weird. The voice was familiar but also strange. He only said his name and didn't say anything. Feng, I'm Lin Dongfang. Old Lin sighed. I didn't think that Lily would be by your side. Elder Lin, it's really you. Feng Tianlong fell into a state of excitement. Elder Lin, where are you? I heard that you went into seclusion. After that, there was no news of you and Captain. Let's not talk about the old days. Let's talk about you first. Didn't Su Su already leave? What? Oh, could it be your daughter? Lin Dongfang pinched his fingers together and calculated. He couldn't help but think to himself that time was merciless. In the blink of an eye, almost 20 years had passed. Did that mean that Tianlong's daughter was at the end of her life? Lin Dongfang felt guilty for not being able to find a cure for Tianlong's wife's illness. However, Tianlong's wife's illness wasn't a common one. Old Lin had never seen or even heard of it. Therefore, all these years, although they had been researching, they had not found a solution. He remembered how he promised Feng Tianlong's wife, Xiao Susu, that he would find a way to cure her daughter, but after so many years there was still no progress. Yes, it's my daughter Xiao Xiao. Lily is treating her now. Elder Lin, do you have a solution? Tianlong didn't think that he would meet Lin Dongfang at this time. If Lin Dongfang had a solution, then things might really turn around. How about this, you give the phone to Lily? I'll talk to him. Old Lin sighed. He didn't have the heart to tell Tianlong that he had no solution. He could only let him give the phone to Lin Yi. Okay, please wait. Tianlong knew that this wasn't the time to reminisce. Saving Xiao Xiao was more important. So Tianlong gave the phone back to Lin Yi. Elder Lin is looking for you. Oh man, how is it? Do you know what the illness is now? Lin Yi hurriedly asked. Is there a solution? No? Or at the moment? Old Lin sighed. I've read many ancient books about this illness and I've visited many people. Until now there's only a shallow theory. What is it? Tell me. Lin Yi's heart sank when he heard that there was no solution, but he didn't give up. He hoped that the old man could tell him more about Xiao Xiao's illness. Lin Yi wanted to see if he could find a solution. After all, he still had Elder Jiao. When the time came, he could discuss it with him. Who knows, there might really be a solution. How do I put it? Xiao Susu's illness is similar to being poisoned, but I'm not sure if it's a poison or not. It looks similar. Old Lin said, when I visited Xiao Susu's hometown, I asked Feng Tianlong to get her family tree through the investigation department, and I found a problem. Xiao Susu? What problem? Lin Yi quickly asked. Xiao Susu is Feng Tianlong's wife, Old Lin said. Xiao Susu's ancestor should be a guardian of a sect, similar to the high priest. Her ancestors have been guardians for generations, but for some reason her branch left the sect, or maybe the sect was destroyed, so they lost their practitioner's arts, and they lost the way to channel the cold energy in their body. That's why this tragedy happened. Cold energy? Lin Yi didn't expect there to be so many stories behind this. He couldn't help but be surprised. Then what should I do now? Old man, what did you mean when you said that there was no solution for now? Does that mean there's a possibility of a cure? That's right, it's the cold yin qi. This cold yin qi weakens when it meets strong opponents. If there's a suitable cultivation method and a suitable cultivation method, this cold yin qi will slowly be controlled by the cultivator and become a type of true qi to enhance one's own strength. In other words, when a strong practitioner is the main force, the cold energy is the support, but Feng Tianlong's wife and daughter, even the generations before them, all had the cold energy as the main force and they were the support. So naturally, their bodies would have problems. Old Lin explained, this cold energy is similar to the poison in Air Gooden's body. It will devour the nutrients in the body. As one grows older, the cold yin energy will also grow. When one reaches the age of 20, the cold yin energy will be completely formed. At that point, the body's nutrients will be devoured. Apart from the cold yin energy devouring the body's vitality, there is no other possibility. Chapter 12:11. Nothing will work. But Tang Yun seemed to have the same feeling as well. So Lin Yi didn't pay much attention to it, but now that he thought about it, there must be a problem. But Tang Yun didn't have a problem? Or maybe Tang Yun was born with cold hands. As for a cure, there is, but it can't be done right now. Old Lin sighed. This is fate. What is it? Hurry up and tell me, don't just sigh over there. Old man, why are you taking so long? Lin Yi said helplessly. First, find a cultivator who has a Yang Heart Sutra and use his true qi to slowly neutralize the yin qi in her body. Even though it can't completely solve the problem, it can achieve the goal of prolonging her life. But this person must be at least sky class. Old Lin said, plus this method has its limitations. In the beginning, a sky class can suppress it, but as they grow older, the cold energy will grow stronger and stronger, and suppressing it will become more and more difficult. In the end, it might not work at all. Chem? Old man, I practice the art of dragon mastery, isn't that a Yang practitioner's arts? Then my pure qi should work on Xiao Xiao, right? Lin Yi was thinking about how his pure qi worked on Xiao Xiao the first time, so why didn't it work the second time? Could it be that there was something that he had overlooked? Your art of dragon mastery is like that, but don't try it. You might lose your life if you do. Old Lin warned after hearing Lin Yi's words, your strength is too low, it won't work. If you put your pure qi into her body right now, you'll be sucked dry, and all your qi will become a feast for the cold energy. I've been sucked dry already? Lin Yi said awkwardly. What? Already, sucked dry? Old Lin paused, his tone growing anxious. Is what you're saying true? Lin Yi was stunned by Old Lin's anxious tone. In Lin Yi's impression, Old Man Lin had always been calm and composed. He was rarely anxious. Even when Lin Yi was injured, Old Man Lin wasn't anxious. He only asked Lin Yi to go to the West Star Mountain village to seek refuge. But this time Old Man Lin was really anxious. Lin Yi was very touched by this strong sense of camaraderie. Don't be fooled by Old Man Lin's nonchalant appearance. When something really happened, Old Man Lin was still the one who cared about him the most. It's true. My current strength is 0, Lin Yi said. Then you're not dead yet? Is it a human or a ghost? Old Lin hurriedly asked. He's not dead. He's alive and well. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's good that you're still alive. Old Lin heaved a sigh of relief. If you lose your strength, you can train again. If you die, you'll lose everything. Thank goodness. You didn't die right away. Lin Yi was a little speechless. I've experienced it before too. Last time in Yanjing my chi was sucked dry, but it was a blessing in disguise and I broke through after training again. I think I'll be able to break through again if I train again. I'm roughly at the bottleneck of Mystic mid-phase peak. I should be able to break through in one go. Fuck. Old Lin's eyes widened after hearing Lin Yi's words. You're playing with her to level up? That scared the hell out of me. It's not really leveling up. It's just that I'm about to break through the bottleneck. Without breaking there can be no construction. It's just easier to break through the bottleneck. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Forget it. You can't right now. Old Man Lin said firmly, even if you refine the true chi in your body and transfer it back to her, repeating the cycle, it will still be useless. Your true chi will become a feast for the yin chi, and it will only make the yin chi stronger and stronger. I see. Lin Yi was troubled. Did he do something bad out of kindness? He put so much chi into Xiao Xiao's body and not only did it not benefit her, it was actually harmful? He couldn't deal with a sky class with the extreme young arts right now, and the old man said that this was just a way to extend his lifespan. He could use it now but he couldn't use it forever. There would be trouble in the future. And so, Lin Yi turned his attention to the second method. Old man, since there's a first method, doesn't that mean there's another way? There is. Legend has it that there's a fruit called the fire spirit's fruit. It's a fruit of pure yang, containing the extreme yang qi of the heavens and earth. Eating one can suppress the yin qi in one's body for tens of years. Of course, it varies from person to person. Some people may be suppressed for the rest of their lives, but some people can only suppress it for 8 to 10 years. However, this is a more stable method. Old Lin said, at least it is more stable and safer than the first method. Fire spirit's fruit? I've never heard of it. What is that? Lin Yi paused. He'd never heard of something like this before. I don't know either. Old Lin's words were like a bucket of cold water splashed on his head. Ugh. Lin Yi wanted to curse. Don't know what you're talking about? Aren't you just spouting nonsense? But Lin Yi suppressed his anger and asked, Old man, if you don't know, then why do you say that? I've only read about this fruit in some ancient medicine compendiums. It's a great medicine to remove the yin qi, but I don't know what it looks like or where to find it. Old Lin sighed. If I could find it, I would have done it a long time ago. Why would I wait until now? Lin Yi thought about what Old Lin said and felt that it made sense. If he knew where to look, he would have done it a long time ago. He was in too much of a rush and forgot about this. So this method is just a legend? It's impossible to achieve? Lin Yi said, troubled. Yes, unless you can find a fire spirit's fruit and give it to her. Old Lin nodded. Is there a third way? Lin Yi asked. A third way? I guess there is. Find a top-tier yin qi practitioner's chant for her, and when she reaches sky class, perhaps she'll be able to guide the yin qi in her body for her own use. Old Lin said after some thought. That's. Lin Yi was speechless. Putting aside how hard it was to find a top-level cold practitioner's arts, even if he did find one, he wouldn't be able to make much progress in this kind of weather. Even if he did make some progress, it'd still be extremely difficult to reach sky class. Plus, the most important thing was that Xiao Xiao was unconscious. How was she supposed to train? And so Lin Yi had to say. Isn't that obvious? Chapter 12:12. What did I miss? Lin Yi didn't know what to say. Indeed, Old Lin had said from the start that he couldn't do anything. He was the one who was too stubborn. But Lin Yi didn't give up. That's not right, old man. Xiao Xiao fainted before and I used my qi to treat her. She did wake up, didn't she? I almost forgot about that if you didn't mention it. Old Lin's expression turned serious as he said, that's absolutely impossible. Your current level of true qi will only harm her body and not benefit her. So think about it carefully. Did something else happen the last time she woke up? Qi shouldn't be of any use. You've been misled. Misled? Lin Yi paused, recalling the situation in detail. Xiao Xiao had fainted, and he'd carried her to the bed, channeling the art of dragon mastery. She'd woken up not long after, and that was the process. Nothing else had happened. Yes, I think you've been misled. Old Lin said with certainty. I've researched this disease for a much longer time than you. I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely not because of your qi. Look, I really can't think of anything. Lin Yi was troubled. Success was right in front of him, but he couldn't figure it out. Lin Yi knew that he might have overlooked something, but what was it that he had overlooked? I can't help you with that. You'll have to think about it yourself. Old Lin said faintly. But let me ask, you seem to care a lot about this Xiao Xiao's life and death? Yeah. She's my girlfriend. Lin Yi said with certainty. Old Lin heard Lin Yi's words. This oath sounded a little weird, but he didn't say anything. Good luck. Lin Yi hung up, his mind a mess. The information old Lin gave him was useful, giving him a more detailed understanding of Xiao Xiao's body, but it wasn't of any use at all. It wasn't of any help to the situation right now. How is it? Does Elder Lin have any ideas? Feng Tianlong waited for Lin Yi to hang up before asking anxiously. In fact, he had already guessed the answer from Lin Yi's disappointed and anxious expression, but he didn't give up and tried again. Lin Yi shook his head slightly. There was no need to lie to Tianlong about something like this. Seeing that Xiao Xiao was in a life-and-death situation, there was no point in lying. It would only make Tianlong more disappointed. Feng Tianlong sighed. He had already expected this outcome. Uncle Feng, let me think about it. Lin Yi waved his hand, telling Tianlong not to rush. Lin Yi was thinking about that day in the hotel in Yanjing, how he did it with Xiao Xiao. Tianlong nodded and looked at Lin Yi nervously. Lin Yi closed his eyes and carefully recalled the scene, but no matter how he thought about it, he couldn't find anything special. Jiao Lao, help me remember that day in the hotel in Yanjing. What happened before and after? Help me think from start to finish, don't miss a single detail. Lin Yi asked Jiao Lao for help. Okay. Elder Jiao said after some thought. That day Xiao Xiao went to take a shower and you waited for her in the room. She didn't move for a while, so you went to check and found her unconscious in the bathroom. You picked her up and started groping her chest. Huh? Lin Yi's face reddened. Jiao Lao, don't mention this, it wasn't on purpose. Didn't you tell me not to miss a single detail? Jiao Yazi humphed. Okay, continue then. Lin Yi didn't care about being embarrassed anymore. Remembering the details was more important. And then you realized this and almost threw Xiao Xiao out and then accidentally cut your arm on the door lock and you carried her to the bed to save her. Jiao Yazi said in detail. Wait, cut my arm? Lin Yi frowned. The only unusual thing in this whole thing was that he cut his arm. He remembered that there was blood everywhere on Xiao Xiao's body and bedsheets, and the next morning Xiao Xiao thought that he had done something to her. Yes, I cut my arm. Jiao Yazi said suddenly. Right, your blood is also of the yang attribute because of the art of dragon mastery. Could it be that your blood saved Xiao Xiao? Lin Yi thought that it was possible. Without another word, he bit his finger and the blood flowed down to Xiao Xiao's forehead. What are you doing? Tianlong was shocked. He didn't expect Lin Yi to do this. He didn't know what he meant. Tang Yun, on the other hand, was startled as well. She didn't know what Lin Yi was doing, but Lin Yi must have a reason for doing this. She turned to Tianlong. Uncle Feng, please don't fret, Lin Yi must have a plan. Oh. Tianlong looked at Tang Yun a little embarrassed. He wasn't as calm as a 19-year-old girl. It made sense, after all, he was worried about Xiao Xiao's safety, so naturally his heart would be more fragile. What Lin Yi didn't expect was that the blood seemed to seep into Xiao Xiao's skin, getting absorbed bit by bit. Lin Yi's body had already gotten rid of the impurities when he broke through to golden class, so his blood was very pure. Xiao Xiao absorbed it cleanly in no time. A look of relief flashed across Lin Yi's face. He was really lucky today. If it weren't for old Lin's reminder and Jiao Yazi's help, he would have missed this small detail. But he didn't expect that this small detail was the key to saving Xiao Xiao. Tianlong's eyes widened as he watched his daughter absorb Lin Yi's blood. He didn't know what Lin Yi was doing. But no matter what, it had to be good for Xiao Xiao, or his daughter wouldn't be able to absorb Lin Yi's blood. Tang Yun covered her mouth as well. She didn't expect Lin Yi to use his own blood to save Xiao Xiao. She felt dizzy. If it was just a little bit of blood, Tang Yun wouldn't care, but in just a short while, Lin Yi had lost at least half a bottle's worth of blood. If this continued, would he be able to take it? Chapter 12-13. Do you know something? Time passed and Xiao Xiao's pale face slowly regained some color. Lin Yi let out a breath of relief. It seemed like Xiao Xiao was fine now. Tianlong and Tang Yun saw Xiao Xiao's change as well, and they both let out a breath of relief. Not long after, Xiao Xiao opened her eyes, and the first thing she saw was Lin Yi's bleeding finger. She jumped, thinking that she was having a nightmare. She screamed, "Ah! Xiao Xiao, you're awake?" Only then did he pull his finger back, silently channeling the art of dragon mastery to heal the wound on his finger. But sadly, he realized that there was no energy left in his body. How was he supposed to heal the wound? Lin Yi smiled bitterly and took out a bottle of ointment. He'd given all his qi to Xiao Xiao and he'd forgotten about it. "Lin Yi, honey?" Xiao Xiao finally saw that the person in front of her was Lin Yi, but she didn't know why Lin Yi had a bleeding finger on her head. "Xiao Xiao, you're really awake? That's great." Tianlong quickly walked to Xiao Xiao's bedside as well, surprised to see his daughter awake. Dad, why are you here too? Xiao Xiao blushed, embarrassed. Did she just call Lin Yi honey in front of her dad? Xiao Xiao, you didn't know that you were unconscious? Tianlong didn't have the time to care if his daughter called Lin Yi honey in front of him. Even if she did, it didn't matter. As far as Tianlong was concerned, Lin Yi was a good son-in-law. At least he was satisfied. So the better Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi were, the happier Tianlong was. I fainted. I think so. Tianlong's words reminded Xiao Xiao, my chest was a bit uncomfortable, so I wanted to lie on the bed for a while, but it got worse and worse and I think I fell asleep. I don't know anything after that. Xiao Xiao, you almost entered the gates of hell, it was Yi who saved you. Feng Tianlong sighed. Although he didn't know when his daughter's illness would act up again after waking up, no matter what, it was better to live one more day. Ah. Xiao Xiao remembered Lin Yi waving his bleeding finger on her face. Was he healing her? Thinking about it, it seemed possible. Last time in the hotel in Yanjing, there was blood all over the bed when she woke up. She thought that Lin Yi had pushed her. Thinking about Lin Yi using his blood to heal her, Xiao Xiao was very grateful. Lin Yi honey, thank you. What are you thanking me for? Lin Yi smiled faintly. You said it yourself, I'm your husband. Why are you thanking me? You're right. Xiao Xiao was back to her usual cheerful self. Tang Yun let out a long breath and looked at Lin Yi. Lin Yi, are you alright? I'm fine. I'll be fine after some rest. Lin Yi did look a bit weak right now. In fact, Lin Yi was very weak as well. He didn't have any qi left and he lost a lot of blood. How could he not be weak? But finding a way to extend Xiao Xiao's life made Lin Yi very happy. His qi didn't work on Xiao Xiao, but his blood was very effective. It could wake her up. But thinking about it, it hadn't been that long since the auction, and Xiao Xiao's illness acted up again. Lin Yi wasn't very optimistic. How long could she last this time? Who knew when it would act up again? And when it acted up, would his blood still be useful? This time the amount of blood Lin Yi gave to Xiao Xiao was clearly much more than last time. Last time he just accidentally let out some blood, and it was enough to cure her. But this time he purposely let out a lot of blood. Okay, Tang Yun nodded, seeing that other than exhaustion, there didn't seem to be anything wrong with Lin Yi. Yun, stay with Xiao Xiao for a while. I'm going to take a nap. I can't take it anymore. Lin Yi felt like his eyelids were fighting. He didn't feel like this before because he was worried about Xiao Xiao, but now that he was completely relaxed, he felt drowsy. Lin Yi honey, sleep on my bed. I'm the only bed in the house and I'm fine now. Xiao Xiao quickly sat up and said to Lin Yi. Seeing that Xiao Xiao's face was rosy, Lin Yi didn't reject it. He nodded and fell onto Xiao Xiao's bed, entering the jade space impatiently. Tang Yun, Tianlong and Xiao Xiao on the other hand, quietly left the room and closed the door for Lin Yi, not wanting to disturb him. Xiao Xiao, you really scared us to death this time. Tang Yun patted her chest as she looked at Xiao Xiao, who was still as lively as ever. Yun sis, were you really worried about me? If I die, no one's going to steal Lin Yi's husband away from you? Xiao Xiao grinned as she looked at Tang Yun, teasing her. Ahem. Tang Yun's face reddened, but she said seriously, Xiao Xiao, what are you thinking? I really see you as a good friend, a good sister. If something happened to you, of course I'd be sad. If it's possible, I really hope that you'll be healthy forever and nothing will happen to you. Really? Xiao Xiao was overjoyed and touched. Tang Yun was really good to her. She didn't bully the small wife but took care of her. Perhaps she was the best big wife in the world? Yes, really? Tang Yun said sincerely. Haha, I'm so happy. Xiao Xiao was in a great mood, but she suddenly thought of something. Her face changed. Yun sis, do you know something? Tang Yun's words earlier made Xiao Xiao, who was smart and sensitive, realize something. Tang Yun said that if it was possible, she hoped that she'd be healthy forever, and nothing would happen to her. What did she mean by maybe? Did she know that she didn't have long to live? Tang Yun paused, not expecting Xiao Xiao to be so sensitive. She was just sighing and Xiao Xiao noticed something. She didn't know how to answer. If she said she knew, would Xiao Xiao think that she and Lin Yi were friends with her because they felt sorry for her? For a moment, Tang Yun was in a dilemma. Chapter 12:14. You can't blame me, right? Tianlong had been listening to Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao's conversation, and while he was thankful for Tang Yun, he was happy for his daughter as well. At the end of her life, she met a reasonable wife like Tang Yun. If it were someone else, they'd be wishing for Xiao Xiao's death. Tianlong saw that his daughter had noticed something, and naturally, he stepped up to explain the situation. He was afraid that Xiao Xiao would think that Lin Yi and Tang Yun were doing this out of pity for her. Ah. Xiao Xiao's heart skipped a beat. So it was like that. Lin Yi's husband and Tang Yun's sis knew the truth now. But she let out a breath of relief. She'd have to say it sooner or later anyway, and it was easier to say it from her father's mouth. Otherwise she wouldn't know how she'd tell Lin Yi. This had always been a sore point in Xiao Xiao's heart. She didn't want Lin Yi to feel the pain she brought him when she left, but she was deeply immersed in the beauty of love, unable to pull herself out. And so Xiao Xiao's heart was in a mess. She didn't want to leave Lin Yi, but there was nothing she could do. She lived in self-blame every day, waking up from nightmares all the time. Plus, not only did she have a boyfriend like Lin Yi, but she also had Tang Yun, a sister who loved her so much. Love, friendship. She had it all, but the more she had it, the more she was afraid of losing it. Now that her father told Lin Yi and Tang Yun about her situation, Xiao Xiao felt much more relaxed. Tang Yun, sis, you guys don't blame me, right? I've been hiding these things from you guys. Xiao Xiao couldn't look Tang Yun in the eye anymore. Not at all. In fact, we all sympathize with you. Tang Yun sighed. Xiao Xiao, to be honest, I was really shocked when I found out about this, but considering your personality, I can guess that you knew you wouldn't be able to live for long. That's why you're like this, right? Yeah. Xiao Xiao nodded, unsurprised. Tang Yun guessed it all after knowing her situation, so it wasn't anything special. But you have to believe in Lin Yi. He will definitely find a way to cure you. Just now, when we were all at our wits' end, he came back to save you. Tang Yun encouraged. Yeah, I trust him. Xiao Xiao nodded, but still didn't dare look at Tang Yun. Come on, let's go make some food for Lin Yi. He'll be hungry when he wakes up. We didn't even have time to eat today, Tang Yun said as she held Xiao Xiao's hand. Sure. Xiao Xiao said happily. She loved cooking for Lin Yi. Seeing how his daughter and Tang Yun were getting along so well, Feng Tianlong felt that it was unbelievable. Could these two women really live in peace without fighting? But the truth was right in front of him, and he had no choice but to believe it. Whether Tang Yun was sincere or not, Feng Tianlong could still tell. Perhaps Tang Yun's decision was out of sympathy for Xiao Xiao, but now, other than sympathy, Tang Yun's eyes were filled with deep love and care. Feng Tianlong knew that it wasn't appropriate for him to stay any longer. He coughed and said to Xiao Xiao, Xiao Xiao, I'll be going first. I still have things to do. Okay, bye. Xiao Xiao wished that her father would go out as well. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to talk about these private things in front of him. Feng Tianlong looked at Li Yifeng, and Li Yifeng naturally understood what he meant. He brought Dr. Lu and the other doctors out of Xiao Xiao's apartment, and Feng Tianlong followed behind them. After closing the door, only Tang Yun, Xiao Xiao, and the sleeping Lin Yi were left in the house. Yun, sis, I really don't want to leave you guys, I really don't. Being able to meet you guys at the end of my life is the biggest blessing of my life. Xiao Xiao said emotionally as she skillfully operated the cooking utensils on the stove. Me too, Xiao Xiao. In fact, when I first agreed to your bet, I was just acting out of spite. I was a little conflicted in my heart, but as I got to know you more and more, I really treated you as a good friend. Tang Yun said with a sigh, that's why I said if it's possible, let's be together forever. Yeah. Xiao Xiao nodded, touched. I also hope to have a big sis that loves me forever. Ah. Alright, let's not talk about these unhappy things. Let's make dinner? Tang Yun shook her head as she said to Xiao Xiao. Alright. Xiao Xiao started getting busy as well. After entering the jade space, Lin Yi immediately started channeling the art of dragon mastery, greedily absorbing the energy in the jade space for his own use. Not only did he need a lot of energy from the blood loss, but he also needed more energy to recover his strength. Jiao Yazi looked at Lin Yi and couldn't help but shake his head. You sure are infatuated. You lost a lot this time, didn't you? There can be no construction without destruction. Lin Yi said faintly, ignoring Jiao Lao. He didn't have time to waste with Jiao Lao. You bastard, I care about you and you take my kindness for granted. Jiao Yazi glared and turned away, ignoring Lin Yi. Lin Yi had experienced this many times before, and while he was making use of every second he had to train, he wasn't in a rush. He'd recover sooner or later, so what was the rush? The energy in the jade space was quickly channeled by Lin Yi, and Lin Yi was getting better and better at this. The first time he couldn't completely gather all the energy around him for his own use, so he could only absorb it slowly. But after a few times of destruction, Lin Yi was getting more and more familiar with it, and he could channel all the energy in the jade space around him and above his head. This way he could passively absorb the energy and speed up his training. If it weren't in the jade space but the outside world, all the plants and houses within a few hundred miles would be affected by the energy around Lin Yi. If an outsider were here, they'd be shocked because the energy around Lin Yi was like a tornado surrounding Lin Yi, and Lin Yi was in the center of it all. Chapter 12:15. He had to give up. There was enough energy in the space of the jade for him to absorb, but he wasn't satisfied. He felt that the absorption was too slow, so he had to guide the energy around him and let it rush into his body. Lin Yi first repaired the blood that was lost in his body. This process wasn't complicated, and to Lin Yi, it was like healing his own body, using the energy to speed up the blood production. After his body recovered, Lin Yi started to recover his strength. At this moment, Lin Yi's body was like an empty water tank, gulping down the energy in the space of the jade. Time always passed in the blink of an eye during cultivation. Lin Yi felt that the energy in his body was accumulating more and more. From no strength at all, to the early phase of the golden class, and from the early phase to the peak of the late phase, and then to the early phase of the mystic class. Finally, Lin Yi reached his previous strength, the middle phase of the mystic class, before he dropped a level. There were no accidents during this process because Lin Yi had done this many times, and it was a walk in the park for him. After returning to his previous strength, Lin Yi didn't slack off. He continued to use the art of dragon mastery, preparing to break through to the peak of the middle phase of the mystic class. Many things were like this: the first burst of energy, the second decline, and the third exhaustion. If he couldn't break through in one go, then it would be much harder to break through again. So Lin Yi didn't want to waste this opportunity, so he gritted his teeth and persevered. But how could breaking through be that easy? Even if the timing was right, many people would be stuck at the bottleneck for more than a year and a half. Many people might not be able to break through in their entire lives. Did they not touch the barrier? In reality, they had also touched it and were on the verge of leveling up. However, it was extremely difficult to break through this barrier. Lin Yi didn't want to admit it, but he had to admit that he had failed this time. It was a failure. Without destruction there can be no construction. For the first time Lin Yi tasted the taste of failure. There was no construction after destruction. This time, Lin Yi's attempt to break through to the peak of mystic mid-phase was slightly different from the last few times. The last few days were all very difficult, and it was hard to even absorb a little bit of energy into his body. In many cases he couldn't even absorb a little bit of energy. It was like a bag that was filled to the brim with things. Even a little bit more could not be stuffed in. This was also the reason why Lin Yi could not break through the barrier even after trying so many times. But this time he was able to absorb a little energy into his body, but he still failed. Phew, as expected, it still won't work. Lin Yi sighed and opened his eyes. After a while Lin Yi decided to attack the barrier of mid-phase peak again. Lin Yi was not willing to accept this failure. He wanted to break through in one go. The energy in the jade space was once again moved by Lin Yi, and it surrounded Lin Yi at an unbelievable speed. Lin Yi had already grasped the method of absorbing energy, and he could use the first stage of the art of dragon mastery with ease. It could be said that breaking through to the second stage was something that was within his reach. Now that everything was ready, all he needed to do was wait for the stone door to open again, and he would be able to obtain the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. The first stage already had so many benefits. It was so much stronger than the average mantra, and it benefited Lin Yi immensely. Then what kind of surprise would the second stage bring? Lin Yi was looking forward to it. At the same time, Lin Yi was regretting that he didn't discover the jade space earlier. If he had discovered the jade space earlier, he would have completed the first stage of the art of dragon mastery, and he wouldn't have to wait for so many years. He would have been able to open the stone door 5 years ago. But Lin Yi was just thinking about it. Sometimes one couldn't be too greedy. It was already good enough that he could achieve what he had today. Once, twice, thrice. Although the energy was gathering around Lin Yi still couldn't break through the barrier. Every time he could absorb some energy into his body, but he felt like he was just a little bit away from it. If he could have just a little bit more energy, even a little bit more, he would have broken through. But the amount of energy he could absorb each time was limited, and he couldn't go any further. And after the energy was absorbed into his body, it would instantly be consumed by his metabolism, and he couldn't accumulate it again. It was like a person trying to push a door. If he didn't have enough strength, no matter how many times he pushed, the door wouldn't open. He knew that if he just used a little more strength, the door would open, but he couldn't. And the strength he used to push the door couldn't be accumulated either. After pushing, it would be used up. And that was what Lin Yi was like right now. His body was full of energy, and if he absorbed a little more, he would be able to break through the barrier. But if he absorbed it bit by bit, it wouldn't help at all. This situation made Lin Yi very frustrated and conflicted. He opened his eyes and looked at Jiao Yazi, who was smiling not too far away. Lin Yi said in distress. Jiao Lao, why am I just a little bit away from breaking through? It's simple. You just broke through the middle phase of the Mystic Division not long ago, and it's already hard for you to take another step forward. The time is too short and your strength hasn't stabilized yet. Jiao Yazi didn't seem to mind at all. It would be strange if you could break through at this time. But Lin Yi still didn't want to give up. The breakthrough was right in front of him, but he was still one step away. This feeling made him feel terrible. It was like having a plate of delicious food in front of him, but he couldn't eat it. Lin Yi tried a few more times, but it all ended in failure. He wanted to give up, but he didn't want to give up. This method of leveling up was tried and tested, but this time there was an accident. It seemed like the peak of the middle phase of the Mystic Division wasn't that easy to reach. Lin Yi returned to reality with disappointment. When he opened his eyes, the room was already dark. It should be evening now. Sitting up on the bed, Lin Yi walked out of the bedroom and opened the door. What greeted his eyes was a bright light. But Lin Yi's adaptability was much stronger than normal people. Under the strong light, he didn't feel uncomfortable at all. He could clearly see the scene in the living room. Xiao Xiao and Tang Yun were sitting on the sofa watching TV. The two of them were snuggling together wearing cartoon pajamas. They looked like a pair of sisters. Chapter 12:16. Chapter 12:14. Sleeping on the sofa. Lin Yi, are you awake? Tang Yun was worried about Lin Yi. She'd seen how much blood Lin Yi had lost and how much energy he'd expended. She'd been thinking about Lin Yi even when she was asleep. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, jumped up from the sofa with a swoosh. She said sleepily, Lin Yi, honey, you're done? Do you want to eat or not? I'll go cook. Lin Yi looked at the two, touched. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You guys should rest if you're tired. I'll go cook something myself. No, we've already slept. The food's ready, we can eat as soon as it's in the pot. Xiao Xiao waved her hand and rubbed her eyes. Tang Yun stood up as well. We haven't eaten yet either. Let's eat when we're done. Looking at the two, Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh. He wouldn't have tried breaking through if he'd known this would happen. It would have been better if he'd come out of the jade space earlier. He'd wasted so much time and wasted so much time. He might as well have spent the night researching and breaking through. Let's go then. I'll help you guys cook. Lin Yi nodded. In the kitchen, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao realized, to their surprise, that Lin Yi's cooking skills were much better than theirs. His movements were fast, but it didn't seem like he was busy at all. Instead, it was very organized. The two subconsciously became Lin Yi's assistants, helping Lin Yi with the seasoning and plates. Soon, plates after plates of delicious food were placed on the table. Lin Yi, honey, I didn't think you were this good. You could even be a chef in a big restaurant. Mengyao and Yushu are so lucky, even I want to move there. Xiao Xiao drooled as she looked at the food on the table enviously. Xiao Xiao's cooking skills weren't bad. After all, she'd been living alone since she was young. She was used to cooking. It was just one person, so it was fine if he could handle it. He only made some common dishes. As for Tang Yun, although she often cooked at home, due to her family's financial situation, she usually ate potatoes and cabbages the most. Seeing so many fresh ingredients, it wasn't easy for her to start. Then let's move over. I'll go talk to Yao Yao. Lin Yi smiled and agreed. What Lin Yi was thinking was that Xiao Xiao's illness was acting up again, and it was lucky that Tianlong found out today. What if Tianlong wasn't here? If he went on a mission and didn't contact Xiao Xiao for a few days, wouldn't Xiao Xiao be dead for sure? And so Lin Yi felt that Xiao Xiao's suggestion wasn't bad, and the Miss and Shu were both reasonable people. They'd definitely support his decision. Nah, I'm not used to it, I'm just saying. Lin Yi agreed, but Xiao Xiao shook her head. Alright, you can go if you want. The door's always open for you. Lin Yi knew that Xiao Xiao's relationship with the Miss and Shu wasn't as close as she was with Tang Yun. The situation was clear too, that Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao were on one side, while Mengyao and Yushu were on the other. Although there was a temporary truce, Xiao Xiao was facing Mengyao and Yushu alone, and it was hard not to feel weak. Right, Lin Yi, can you give Yao Yao and Shu a call? They saw that you didn't go back at night, so they called me and I told them about what happened here. They were very worried about you and told you to call them when you woke up, no matter how late it was. Tang Yun suddenly remembered the phone call and said, That's right, I'm sorry. All right. Lin Yi nodded and dialed Mingyao's number. Hello. Is this Lin Yi? The miss picked up the call quickly. Yeah, it's me. I'm awake, I'm fine. You and Shu go get some rest, I'll be staying at Xiao Xiao's place tonight. Lin Yi said. Okay, take care of Xiao Xiao then. Shu and I'll sleep first. Mengyao sounded a little tired. Evidently, she hadn't slept at all. Lin Yi felt touched once more. The people around him all cared about him. The miss wasn't good with words, but she did worry about him in silence. Xiao Xiao's house only had one small bed and a small sofa in the living room. It could barely fit one person. He could tell that Xiao Xiao didn't let strangers in, and she didn't have any friends before, so no one would come to visit. Everything here was prepared for her to live alone. Sleeping after eating was a bit troublesome. There was only one bed. How were they supposed to sleep? Xiao Xiao, you can sleep on the bed. Yun Yun and I can sleep on the floor in the living room. It's not dirty here, just put a sheet on it, Lin Yi suggested. Yun Yun, sis, you're a guest. How can I let you sleep on the floor? You can sleep on the bed and I'll sleep on the floor, Xiao Xiao said after some thought. Xiao Xiao, your body's not good. Don't catch a cold on the floor. Tang Yun couldn't help but smile. You want Lin Yi to carry you on the floor, right? I'm not. Xiao Xiao blushed as Tang Yun saw right through her. Haha, why don't we sleep on the sofa in the living room and let Lin Yi stay with you, sleeping on the floor next to your bed? Tang Yun of course knew what Xiao Xiao was thinking. Although Tang Yun was looking forward to sleeping on the floor with Lin Yi, she wouldn't fight with Xiao Xiao at a time like this. Only the heavens knew how long Xiao Xiao had left to live, so Tang Yun had to use a humble attitude to face the last part of Xiao Xiao's life. I can't do that. Xiao Xiao was actually looking forward to it. Ever since Lin Yi slept with her at the beach, she'd been thinking about when Lin Yi could spend a night with her again, and today was a good chance. With Lin Yi by her side, Xiao Xiao felt very secure. Then it's settled. Tang Yun smiled and said, go to bed early, you still have school tomorrow morning. With that, Tang Yun stood up and walked to the sofa with a yawn. Xiao Xiao looked at Tang Yun's back and couldn't help but feel her nose twitch. She felt sorry for her. She'd been a little petty before, forcing Tang Yun to agree to her promise out of spite, but now it seemed that Tang Yun was a kind girl and she couldn't bear to lie to her. Chapter 12:17. Do you want to believe me? Xiao Xiao nodded and walked into the bedroom with Lin Yi. She actually wanted to sleep on the same bed as Lin Yi, but her bed was too small for two people. If the two of them slept together, they'd have to hug each other. That position was too ambiguous. Xiao Xiao liked Lin Yi, but the thought of sleeping with Lin Yi like that still made her blush. Go to sleep, I'll watch over you. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't think too much about it. He didn't want to squeeze into the same bed with Xiao Xiao, and Lin Yi could sleep sitting down. Lin Yi wanted to try breaking through after entering the jade space. Oh. Xiao Xiao let out a breath of relief when she saw that Lin Yi wasn't planning on squeezing into the same bed as her, but she was also a little disappointed. Go to sleep. Lin Yi moved Xiao Xiao's chair to the bed, turned off the light and sat on it. Xiao Xiao laid on the bed but didn't close her eyes. In the dark, her eyes rolled around, sizing up Lin Yi. She thought Lin Yi couldn't see, but Lin Yi's vision was better than anyone else's in the dark. Why aren't you sleeping? Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao's eyes, amused. How did you know I wasn't asleep? Xiao Xiao paused. I can see you. Lin Yi shrugged helplessly. Ah, you're so strong, Lin Yi, honey. Xiao Xiao said. Do you have the legendary fiery eyes of truth? Lin Yi was speechless. I'm a cultivator. Naturally, I can see things clearly in the dark. This has nothing to do with the fiery eyes of truth. If that's the case, then tell me, if I also cultivate, would I not die? This was the first time Xiao Xiao had talked about death with Lin Yi, and since Lin Yi already knew about it, she didn't need to hide it anymore. This is possible. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and said, but there's not enough time. There's still a glimmer of hope if I start cultivating from a young age, but now. Tang Yun had already told Lin Yi that Xiao Xiao knew that they knew the truth when Xiao Xiao went to the kitchen, so Lin Yi wasn't surprised. I understand. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed. Lin Yi didn't finish his sentence, but she already knew the answer. She didn't have time to train now, so she didn't need to think about all this. Xiao Xiao, do you believe me? Lin Yi took a deep breath and asked. Of course I do. Xiao Xiao nodded, confused. I can definitely cure your illness. You won't die. Remember this, be happy every day, don't think too much. Lin Yi's face was very serious when he said this, not just to comfort Xiao Xiao, but from the bottom of his heart. He wanted to solve this problem. Yeah, of course I believe you, I look forward to that day. Ah. Xiao Xiao couldn't see the expression on Lin Yi's face in the dark, and naturally thought that Lin Yi was comforting her. But Xiao Xiao had gotten over it long ago, and she wouldn't be bothered by death. Go to sleep, we have school tomorrow. Lin Yi smiled. Xiao Xiao clearly didn't believe him, but that wasn't important anymore. The important thing was that he had to have confidence, and no matter what, he had to find a way to cure Xiao Xiao, no matter what price he had to pay. Xiao Xiao closed her eyes. Lin Yi was right, she still had school tomorrow and she was really tired, Lin Yi waited until Xiao Xiao fell asleep before entering the Jade space and starting a new round of training. The Xiao family's villa, on the other hand, was brightly lit. The living room of the Xiao family's villa was filled with smoke, and Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben were sitting on the sofa with furrowed brows, smoking. Motherfucker, these people really are bad. They're working with us Xiao family to earn money, but when it comes to teaching Pengzhan Industries a lesson, they all shrink back, saying they don't have enough cash. Brother, tell me what the hell is this? They're all ingrates. Xiao Ji was quite pissed off this afternoon. The two brothers had visited all their business partners, and it wasn't that they didn't have enough cash, but that their business projects had taken up most of their manpower and energy. In short, none of them agreed to take down Pengzhan Industries in the stock market. Bro, don't worry, Xiao Ben sighed. This is actually human nature. Working with us, the Xiao family, and using our Xiao family's name as the sun in the sky, they'll be able to earn money no matter what they do, but taking down Pengzhan Industries in the stock market. If we don't do it right, we'll lose money. Pengzhan Industries is different from normal companies too. There aren't many tradable shares, and most of them are in the hands of Pengzhan Industries and the major shareholders. Even if we take all the shares in the stock market, we'll only be a small shareholder. There's no point in doing this. Old Wang told us this afternoon, and I realized that this method isn't very feasible. Then what do we do? Give up this chance just like that? Lin Yi's in the hospital and Pengzhan has so many properties. If we don't take this chance, it'll be a waste. Xiao Ji felt that it was a pity. There's nothing we can do. Who told Elder Pai and Mr. Pai to be in the hospital? That hero is just too strong, attacking Xiao family at a time like this. Even if we want to take Pengzhan's properties, we don't have any cards up our sleeves. Xiao Ben sighed. Now that Pengzhan isn't going to budge, we can only get Elder Pai and Mr. Pai to do it. I don't want to. Xiao Ji was a little depressed. Forget it, we'll find another opportunity. When Elder Pai and Mr. Pai are out of the hospital, we'll have a chance to teach Pengzhan a lesson. Xiao Ben said. The meeting of the noble houses is about to start, and we should be active. This year our Xiao family should be able to get a good spot, second only to House Yu. Yes, you're right. I'll go to Yinjing tomorrow and pay Shuixing a visit. Xiao Ji nodded. Xiao family's revenge could only come to a temporary standstill, and they could only wait for the right time to deal a fatal blow to House Chu. At the same time in Yuan Yuan's house. Yu Ren looked at his wife who was tidying up the house. He felt like he was dreaming. Recovered just like that? His wife's leg was bitten off by a lion, and it was so serious, but she recovered just like that? Yu Ren was stunned by the scene in the hospital, and he didn't come back to reality until he got home. Only now did he know that everything was real. Chapter 12:18. Chapter 12:16. Air Gooden's confession. No. It's nothing. Are you really cured? Your leg doesn't hurt at all? Yu Ren still didn't believe it. What are you talking about? How can I clean the house if my leg hurts? Mrs. Yu said, annoyed. Did Air Gooden's boss really cure it? Isn't this too amazing? Yu Ren felt that this was unbelievable. Weren't you there too? Why are you asking such a stupid question? Mrs. Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I really was cured. It's too amazing. Yu Ren sighed. Air Gooden's boss is really amazing. When he has time, I'll definitely invite him to our house and thank him properly. Are you planning something bad again? Mrs. Yu glared at Yu Ren and asked. Of course not. I was just thinking that since Air Gooden's boss is so amazing, I should ask him to help Air Gooden and Yuan Yuan. Yu Ren explained. That's good, I thought you liked him and wanted to marry Yuan Yuan to him. Mrs. Yu breathed out in relief. I like him, but he doesn't like our Yuan Yuan. Didn't he say he already has a girlfriend? Yu Ren shook his head. I've thought it through after the underground arena incident. People need to learn to be satisfied, to be content. Everything in front of us is enough. Don't dream about those unrealistic things. Yuan Yuan being able to find a man like Air Gooden is her fortune. As for someone like Lin Yi, Yuan Yuan might not fall for him. You're finally realistic. If you were like this earlier, you wouldn't have been tricked by others. Mrs. Yu shook her head and said helplessly. If I wasn't tricked, I wouldn't have met Air Gooden, and our family wouldn't have such a good life now. Yu Ren said proudly. At the same time in Yuan Yuan's room, Air Gooden's expression was serious. This time he wanted to talk to Yuan Yuan about the future. Gooden might look like a fool, but he wasn't an idiot. He had his own plans. Zhou Jiaming, what do you want to say to me? Yuan Yuan was a bit shy, lowering her head, not daring to look at Gooden. Her hand clutched the corner of her shirt, a bit nervous. A man and a woman alone in a room, she was afraid that Gooden would do something to her. I have something very important to tell you. Gooden sighed before saying seriously. What is it? Yuanyuan's heart tightened. Was Gooden confessing to her? The two of them being together was a little interesting, but they never made it clear. Today would Gooden, Yuanyuan, I'll be going back home soon? Gooden said. Ah. Yuanyuan paused, not expecting Gooden's first words to be leaving. She didn't know what to do. Naturally, she didn't want Gooden to leave. After all this time, she had developed feelings for him. How could she let him leave? Yuanyuan, I have a reason why I have to go back, so I want to ask you, will you go back with me in the future? Gooden looked at Yuanyuan and asked word by word. Ah? Yuanyuan was dumbfounded. This Gooden was too direct, wasn't he? Who asked a girl like that? You didn't even confess and you're asking me to go back with you? Wasn't this a bit too fast? Man. I know too, you're a girl born in a big city, why would you want to go to a small village with me? Gooden looked at Yuanyuan's expression and laughed at himself. Forget it, pretend I didn't say anything. With that he turned around and was about to leave Yuanyuan's room. Gooden wasn't an idiot, but he was an honest man. He thought that Yuanyuan was rejecting him when she didn't say anything. In order to avoid the awkwardness, Gooden decided that he should leave as soon as possible. It wouldn't be good for them to be friends in the future. Yuanyuan was even more stunned now. What kind of person was this? He didn't even say much and he just turned around and left. What do you mean, why would I want to? How do you know I don't want to? You're even answering for me? Zhou Jiaming, you bastard. Yuanyuan panicked. Stop right there. This time, it was Gooden's turn to be dumbfounded. He didn't think that the usually gentle Yuanyuan would get angry, cursing at him. Gooden turned around and looked at Yuanyuan carefully, not sure what was wrong with her. How do you know I don't want to? You think you have superpowers? You can see what I'm thinking? Yuanyuan glared at Gooden. Then you're willing? Gooden blinked and then became happy. He finally understood why Yuanyuan was angry. You didn't even confess to me, why should I go back with you? Yuanyuan snorted and did not answer. Haha. Gooden of course understood what Yuanyuan was thinking. It seemed like Yuanyuan agreed to go with him and he misunderstood. Gooden scratched his head. Yuanyuan, I actually like you and I want you to be my wife. What the hell are you talking about? Do you even know how to confess? Yuanyuan rolled her eyes. It was such a romantic moment and this guy was acting like this. Oh, it's like that, it's fine as long as you know. I'm not that good with words, you know? Gooden explained helplessly. Forget it, I don't understand romance. Yuanyuan couldn't do anything about this. Thinking that Gooden had always been like this, she didn't mind. Instead, she felt a bit of sweetness in her heart. Nothing could compare to what Gooden said just now. He wanted her to be his wife. Nowadays there were quite a number of young couples who made vows of undying love, but when it came to marriage their vows of undying love became bullshit. Some guys just wanted to have fun, and some girls didn't like guys because they didn't have a car or a house. Gooden wasn't romantic at all, but it was practical. Then, are you coming back with me or not? Gooden was panicking. Yuanyuan still hadn't given him a definite answer. But what about my parents? Yuanyuan was worried about her parents. Chapter 12:19. Heavenly benefits you. Dumb people have dumb luck, meeting a good boss. Yuanyuan was a bit speechless, but Linny looked like a smart guy. He should have a way to solve this problem, right? In the Jade Space, Linny had failed his 20th attempt at Mystic Mid-Phase Peak. Lin kid, I told you you're still lacking. You just need to train for a few more days and maybe you'll be able to break through. You're just wasting your time, aren't you? Jiao Yazi shook his head as he looked at Lin Yi's failure. Jiao Lao, I can't accept this. If I want to save Xiao Xiao, I need to get stronger. Only when I'm Sky Class can I extend her life. Lin Yi gritted his teeth. Forgive me for being blunt, but even if you're a training genius, you won't be able to reach Sky Class before Xiao Xiao dies. Jiao Lao said, it's good to have a goal to strive for, but if it's too unrealistic, then you're biting off more than you can chew. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly when he heard Jiao Lao's words. Indeed, he was biting off more than he could chew, wanting to break through to Sky Class and extend Xiao Xiao's life. But now that he'd calmed down, Jiao Lao's words weren't without reason. He was only a Mystic Mid-Phase, and there was still an Earth Class between him and Sky Class. Trying to break through from Mystic to Earth Class, wasn't biting off more than he could chew? If word got out, he'd be a laughing stock. It was unrealistic for other people to break through from Mystic Mid-Phase to Earth Class, let alone Mystic Mid-Phase to Sky Class. And Jiao Lao wasn't wrong at all. Even if he was a genius, he wouldn't be able to break through to Sky Class before Xiao Xiao died. In other words, even if he did break through to Sky Class, he'd only be extending Xiao Xiao's life, not actually curing her. So in order to solve Xiao Xiao's problem, he had to find out if there was a fire spirit's fruit in this world. If he did, he'd give Xiao Xiao one to suppress the cold energy in her body. That way he'd have plenty of time to find a suitable cold energy practitioner's arts for Xiao Xiao, and he'd be able to guide her in her training. That should solve the problem once and for all. Thank you. Linny nodded. In an instant he had figured out many things. I also don't want to see you work in vain. Jiao Lao waved his hand and said indifferently. But I still want to break through. This is not only to save Xiao Xiao but also for myself. The enemy is too strong, I must increase my strength. Linny said, fuck. I've wasted my words. Jiao Yazi rolled his eyes. Do what you want. If you want to do useless work, then do it. If you can break through today, I'll tell you a huge benefit. A huge benefit? Lin Yi's eyes lit up. Jiao Yazi's benefit was no ordinary benefit. The information he got from Jiao Yazi was extremely useful to Lin Yi, and this was all information Jiao Yazi told him without any conditions. This huge benefit had to be something even more powerful. Yes, I was going to tell you this benefit after you break through to the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery, but if you break through today, then I'll tell you now. Jiao Yazi actually didn't want Lin Yi to continue tormenting him, but since Lin Yi didn't give up, Jiao Yazi said it out of anger. He didn't expect Lin Yi to take it seriously. Alright, it's a deal. Lin Yi nodded and continued to sit cross-legged, entering the state of cultivation. Jiao Yazi was a little speechless, but since Lin Yi insisted, he had nothing else to say. Lin Yi activated the Art of Dragon Mastery and mobilized the energy in the space of the Jade Pendant. Everything in the beginning was easy for Lin Yi, but at the last moment he inevitably failed. Once, twice, thrice, all the way until the 10th time Lin Yi finally wanted to give up. It seemed like Jiao Yazi was right, he wasn't there yet. Although he had reached the peak of the middle phase of the mystic class, he was still lacking a little bit. Don't underestimate this little bit. There's a saying that a little bit of difference can lead to a great loss. However, Lin Yi remembered the benefit Jiao Yazi mentioned before, and his heart itched. He opened his eyes and looked at Jiao Yazi. Jiao Lao, why don't I give up and you tell me what that benefit is? I say, Lin kid, what does it have to do with me whether you give up or not? What benefit do I have to tell you if you give up? Do you think I'm an old fool? Jiao Yazi couldn't help but laugh at Lin Yi. You brat, what a good plan, you give up and still want benefits? Do you think you're dreaming right now? This. Lin Yi blushed at Jiao Yazi's words, but this also made Lin Yi even more stubborn. Fine, then I'll break through for you to see. Then continue? Jiao Yazi nodded. Let's continue then, who's afraid of who? Lin Yi took a deep breath and decided to enter the next round of breaking through. This time, Lin Yi didn't train recklessly and blindly like before. Instead, he carefully recalled the feeling he had before he broke through. He felt that the energy he absorbed wasn't enough, just a little bit more, but the amount of energy he absorbed was already at the limit. He couldn't go any more, right? Did he really need to cultivate for a while longer, wait for the energy in his body to accumulate more, and then think about breaking through? But if he did that, the benefits would be gone. And Jiao Yazi was completely a virtual person, forcing him was useless, so if Lin Yi wanted to know the benefits, the only way was to break through today. But how could he break through? Lin Yi furrowed his brows. Looking at Lin Yi's thoughtful look, Jiao Yazi found it a little funny, thinking to himself, this kid really wants to know what the benefits are? When you cultivate the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery, you'll naturally know the benefits. But now, even if you know the benefits, what's the use? Your strength isn't at the second stage, you can't use it even if you know. Lin Yi still didn't know that he was actually schemed by Jiao Lao, who promised him an unrealistic benefit. If he knew this earlier, Lin Yi wouldn't be so eager to break through. A little more energy, a little more. How can I get a little more? Chapter 12:20. Finally breaking through, is it really possible? No matter what, I'll know once I try. Lin Yi thought of an extremely crazy way to experiment. This method was a little risky, but if it succeeded, then Lin Yi would have found a way to level up that was different from other traditional methods. The benefits that this would bring would be immeasurable. In other words, if this method succeeded, then even if Lin Yi couldn't reach the full circle of each level in the future, he could use this method to forcefully break through. Thinking of this, Lin Yi's face was a little excited, but also a little nervous. Because this was not a normal method but a very dangerous one. Whether or not it would bring any benefits was still uncertain, but whether or not it would bring any negative effects was also very hard to say. So Lin Yi had to be very, very careful. If he were to get injured because of this, then the gains would not make up for the losses. The method that Lin Yi thought of was energy compression. Lin Yi had mastered the energy compression method. Not only could he compress the energy inside his body, but he could also compress the energy outside his body. Right now, Lin Yi's situation was that under the same circumstances, the total amount of energy that he could absorb was fixed, but after compressing the energy he could absorb more energy. This was like a file in a computer. A hard disk could only store a certain amount of data, but if it was a compressed file, then it could store more data. So, this was also a possibility that Lin Yi thought of. Since he only needed a little bit more energy to break through, then he could directly absorb some of the compressed energy and let it be released in his body. That way, wouldn't it be the same as absorbing more energy? But this idea was a little crazy and dangerous. This was one of his trump cards, the energy bomb. Against an enemy it could blow them up into a bloody mess, but if he used it on himself he couldn't be sure that nothing would go wrong. But what Lin Yi thought was that since the energy was the same as the energy in his body, it was the same attribute, then even if the energy was suddenly released, it could be absorbed by him, unlike others who would be directly blown up. Therefore, this was the most important reason why Lin Yi wanted to experiment. After thinking for a while, he remembered that even if he was injured by the explosion, he still had the ability to heal himself. Plus, he had the yellow-tiered dog as his trump card, so he didn't have to worry about not being able to deal with any accidents. Once this idea of his was realized, the benefits it would bring would be endless. Lin Yi took a deep breath and activated the art of dragon mastery, gathering all the energy in the jade space around him. But this time Lin Yi didn't rush to absorb it. Instead, he compressed the energy around him. Of course, this compression was only on a small scale and with a small compression ratio. Lin Yi did not dare to compress with a high compression ratio like an energy bomb for the first time. Lin Yi was afraid that he would blow himself up and not even have the chance to recover. Jiao Yazi originally had nothing to do and looked at Lin Yi with a mocking expression. But when he saw what Lin Yi was doing, his expression changed. The next moment, Jiao Yazi realized what Lin Yi was going to do and wanted to stop him. "Little Lin, wait." Jiao Yazi was shocked. If Lin Yi was really going to do what he thought, then it was indeed crazy. However, when Jiao Yazi opened his mouth, Lin Yi had already absorbed the compressed energy into his body. In an instant, Lin Yi's face suddenly turned red, showing an unhealthy expression. The compressed energy was instantly released in Lin Yi's body. Lin Yi only felt like he was a balloon that was about to burst. His whole body was like an air bag, bulging and uncomfortable. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels felt like they were compressed together and there was no space left. Lin Yi instantly spat out a mouthful of blood. This high-intensity expansion of energy made him feel like he was going to explode. It was indescribably uncomfortable. When Jiao Yazi saw this scene, he instantly sucked in a breath of cold air. How could he do such a thing? He's simply courting death. However, since Lin Yi had already done it, then Jiao Yazi could only watch helplessly from the side. He wasn't a real body and was only a shadow, so he couldn't interfere with what Lin Yi was doing. Sigh. "Little Lin, I hope you can succeed. I'm afraid you're the only one in the world who dares to break through like this." Jiao Yazi muttered to himself and shook his head. However, when he recalled Lin Yi's daily actions, how many crazy things had he done? Previously he used this energy bomb to blow others up, and now he used it to blow himself up. This person, for the sake of cultivation, he would do anything. Although Lin Yi was extremely uncomfortable, he could still hear Jiao Yazi's words. He suddenly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, no matter what, Lin Yi could only clench his teeth and persevere. He couldn't give up now. He had to persevere. If he didn't persevere, then all his previous efforts would be wasted. Therefore Lin Yi clenched his teeth. Since he couldn't resist, then he would enjoy it. Therefore Lin Yi began to enjoy the refreshing feeling that his body was about to explode from the energy. It was really refreshing, so refreshing that he could die. Boom! A loud explosion sounded. Lin Yi only felt that his eardrums were vibrating. His body finally couldn't withstand the accumulation of energy and exploded. However, Lin Yi knew that this kind of explosion wasn't a real explosion. It was an illusion brought about by the moment of breakthrough. Breakthrough, really breakthrough. At the same time that Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief, the energy around his body also slowly dissipated. At the same time, Lin Yi's face also gradually returned to normal from the initial flush. His entire body no longer felt like it was about to explode. Instead, it became a comfortable feeling as if he had just woken up. His entire body felt like it was filled with energy. It was indescribably comfortable. Ah! Peak middle phase mystic class. Jiao Lao head, I'm really amazing. I can actually break through like this. Lin Yi jumped up and danced happily. The sense of accomplishment brought by leveling up wasn't enough to make Lin Yi so excited. The reason why Lin Yi was so excited was that he found a shortcut to quickly break through the barrier. Using the method of energy compression to break through was far faster than cultivating slowly. This method was proven. That meant that Lin Yi could continue to cultivate. Every time he reached the barrier of a level, he could do this. Then, Sky Class would probably not be a dream anymore. And you broke through. Jiao Yazi was speechless. Other than speechlessness, there was nothing else he could say. Chapter 12:21. Storage Jade Pendant, yeah? Jiao Yazi nodded. Jiao Lao, what are the benefits you mentioned before? Can you tell me now? Lin Yi looked at Jiao Yazi with a smile. Jiao Yazi didn't expect Lin Yi to have such a good memory. After breaking through, the first thing he thought of was to ask for benefits. Jiao Yazi didn't expect Lin Yi to break through. Now that Lin Yi had broken through, he was in a difficult position. This benefit could only be activated after cultivating the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery. However, Lin Yi was only cultivating the first stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery, so he couldn't activate it yet. Therefore, even if Jiao Yazi told Lin Yi about the benefits, he could only drool. He could see it but not touch it. What? Jiao Lao, you won't go back on your words, right? Lin Yi looked at the silent Jiao Yazi and was a little anxious. The benefits that Jiao Yazi mentioned must be unique. Lin Yi naturally didn't want to let it go. I won't go back on my words, but this benefit doesn't have any practical use for you now. Jiao Yazi thought for a while and said, do you really want to know? Yes. Lin Yi nodded with certainty. No practical use? Lin Yi didn't believe it. Since Jiao Yazi described it as a great benefit, it must mean that this benefit was huge. It couldn't be an ordinary benefit. Alright, since you want to know, I'll tell you. Jiao Yazi nodded and said, the space you are in now is actually a fourth-dimensional space. Not only can you cultivate in it, but you can also use it as a storage space. Storage space? Lin Yi was stunned. That's right, a storage space. It's similar to the storage ring, backpack, and storage bag you play online games with. You can put items from the outside world into this storage space. It won't increase the weight and you can take it out whenever you need it. Jiao Yazi explained. Lin Yi listened to Jiao Yazi and was surprised and happy. So this jade pendant can also be used as a storage pendant? I can put all my belongings in it? Theoretically, yes. Jiao Yazi nodded. It's really a great benefit. Lin Yi had heard of magical treasures such as storage rings, storage bags, and space rings. However, most of them were in novels or games. He didn't expect that he would have such a treasure one day. Alright, I've told you about the benefits. Jiao Yazi said. Wait, Jiao Lao, what do I have to do to put items from the outside world into the space of the jade pendant? Lin Yi wasn't stupid. Jiao Yazi only told him about the function of the space of the jade pendant, but he didn't say how to use it. This made Lin Yi anxious. I don't know about that. Jiao Yazi shook his head as if it had nothing to do with him. Lin Yi was stunned. You don't know? Yes, I only told you about a benefit, but I didn't say how to use it. Jiao Yazi smiled cunningly. Lin Yi glared at Jiao Yazi, not knowing what to say. What's the point of telling me this benefit if you don't know? Isn't that the same as not saying anything? This benefit is that after you open the next stone door and get the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery, you'll be able to use it naturally after you practice it. Jiao Yazi explained. This benefit is something you'll get after you practice the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery. I'm just telling you in advance. I see. Lin Yi was a little disappointed, but he was looking forward to it. At least this way, the benefits Jiao Yazi told him weren't just empty words. It was something that could be realized. Once he practiced the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery, he'd be able to realize this benefit. Just thinking about it made Lin Yi feel that it was very useful. He'd be able to perform magic for Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. If Jiao Yazi knew that Lin Yi wanted to use this benefit to perform magic, he wouldn't know whether to laugh or cry. This benefit was something that many practitioners yearned for, but Lin Yi only wanted to use it to perform magic. What a waste. Yes, after you open the first stone door, it's not just the stone door that opens but also my memories. Jiao Yazi said. You know that I'm just a phantom, not my real body. There are some things in my memories that are suppressed and sealed, and they'll be unlocked when the stone door is opened. So after you open the first door, my memories of the things on the first floor were added. Of course, there were also memories of the things on the second floor. That's why I know about this benefit. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded in realization. No wonder Jiao Yazi only knew part of the things and it was very vague at that. His memories came back with the opening of the stone door. No wonder he didn't know about the Jade's prediction ability when he asked him about it. Perhaps this was one of the benefits of the jade, but it wasn't time for it to be revealed yet. Perhaps it would only be revealed when he reached the third or fourth stage of the art of dragon mastery. But for some reason, a small part of it had been unlocked earlier. Alright, I've said what I needed to say. You'll know the details when the second door is opened. Don't miss it. Jiao Yazi said. I understand. Lin Yi nodded, suppressing this benefit to the bottom of his heart. If he kept looking forward to this benefit, it'd affect his temperament, and it wouldn't be good for his training. So it was better to let nature take its course. This benefit would belong to him sooner or later anyway, and he couldn't run away from it. Lin Yi adjusted his state of mind and returned to reality from the space of the jade. Today's training was coming to an end. He had just broken through and he needed to consolidate his strength. If he wanted to continue breaking through, he'd really be biting off more than he could chew. One should know that a great building starts from the ground, and more haste makes waste. A balance between work and rest was the eternal truth. Opening his eyes, Lin Yi saw darkness. The sky wasn't bright yet and it was still nighttime. It was also pitch black outside the window, and only the hazy moonlight could be seen. Chapter 1222. Xiao Xiao's last wish. In this period of time, Lin Yi had unknowingly fallen in love with this girl who dared to love and hate. He liked her from the bottom of his heart, and he didn't want her to leave his side. When there's a will, there's a way. It sounded nice, but sometimes there was nothing that could be done. Lin Yi bent down and kissed Xiao Xiao on the cheek. Xiao Xiao seemed to have sensed it, and a sweet smile appeared on her face. She opened her eyes and looked at Lin Yi before falling asleep again. Lin Yi didn't disturb her anymore. He picked up her phone from the bedside. Lin Yi wanted to see what other wishes Xiao Xiao hadn't fulfilled. In the days to come, Lin Yi would help her fulfill these wishes first. After all, this was a warning to him that Xiao Xiao really didn't have much time left. He had to be prepared for all eventuals, he had to find a way to cure Xiao Xiao, and at the same time he had to make sure she was happy. Even if there was no way to cure her, she'd still have a happy ending to her life. Picking up Xiao Xiao's phone, Lin Yi opened the notebook app he found earlier and found the My Wish folder. He opened it silently. Although peeking at Xiao Xiao's privacy was a bit immoral, it wasn't a problem of morality anymore. Lin Yi's intention was good. He wanted to understand Xiao Xiao's wishes, and then help her fulfill them one by one. As of now, the wishes he saw before, other than the push down the superstar Su Shirhan, which was a bit unbelievable and Lin Yi couldn't help Xiao Xiao fulfill it, the other wishes were all fulfilled. As for this push down the superstar wish, Lin Yi could only give up. He couldn't really drag Xiao Xiao and Su Shirhan into some threesome, could he? Lin Yi sweated just thinking about it. Opening My Wish, Lin Yi found the place he saw last time and continued looking. After the push down the superstar wish, there was another wish that was related to this wish. When is Su Shirhan going to hold a concert in Songshan? I really want to see it. It would be best if I went with my best friend and boyfriend. It's best to take a picture with Su Shirhan. Below this wish there were two comments. The first comment was from a long time ago, more than a year ago. The comment read, "Went to Yanjing for a checkup. Coincidentally, Su Shirhan was having a concert there. But because she was hospitalized, I didn't get to see her. I'm so pissed." The second comment was written a few days ago. "I have my bestie, I have my boyfriend, I'm just missing Su Shirhan." Lin Yi was speechless as he looked at the comments on the second day. But he was thinking, couldn't this Su Shirhan hold a concert in Songshan? If it didn't work out, he could ask Fatty Lai to sponsor the event. There was a possibility that this wish could be realized. After memorizing this wish, Lin Yi went to look at Xiao Xiao's next wish. "I hope that when I leave Lin Yi, Tang Yun, Mengyao, Yushu and my dad won't be by my side. Let me leave quietly, I don't want them to be sad for me." Looking at the date of this wish, Lin Yi's face froze. The date was the day before yesterday. Lin Yi felt a lot of emotions. It seemed that Xiao Xiao had a premonition that her life was coming to an end. Perhaps her body was already very uncomfortable, but she didn't say anything. Instead, she quietly stayed at home alone and didn't tell anyone. If it wasn't for Qianlong's accidental discovery, Xiao Xiao would have really left this time. Lin Yi sighed softly. Xiao Xiao, if you really left like this, I'd blame myself to death." Lin Yi shook his head. This wish needed more thought, and Lin Yi decided to look at the other wishes. But the wish ended here. This was the last one and also the newest one. It seemed that Xiao Xiao hadn't added any other wishes yet. So, the remaining unfulfilled wishes were to go to the celebrity Su Shirhan's concert and have a threesome with her. The concert could be researched, but as for the threesome, he decided to forget about it. Lin Yi turned off Xiao Xiao's phone and put it back carefully. Lin Yi decided to go check on Tang Yun. From Xiao Xiao's room to the living room, Lin Yi tiptoed towards Tang Yun. Even though Lin Yi's footsteps were very light, not even making a sound, Tang Yun still woke up, perhaps because of telepathy. One had to know that Lin Yi had gone through special training, and even assassination missions were nothing to him. The sound of his footsteps couldn't be heard by a normal person. But Tang Yun opened her eyes and looked at Lin Yi, confused. What's wrong? Is it morning already? No, sleep. I'm just here to see you, Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Would Tang Yun think he was a pervert? Sneaking here in the middle of the night? Oh, I can't sleep well in a different place, Tang Yun stretched. How's Xiao Xiao? Asleep? Yes, she's asleep, Lin Yi nodded. You sleep too, I'll go back now? Don't go, stay with me for a while? Tang Yun hesitated before calling out to Lin Yi. Tang Yun didn't want to fight with Xiao Xiao, but Xiao Xiao was obviously asleep, so it was fine for Lin Yi to stay with her for a while. Okay. Lin Yi nodded with a smile. As long as Tang Yun didn't think he was a pervert, it was fine. Lin Yi walked over and sat beside Tang Yun on the sofa, holding her hand. Tang Yun smiled and closed her eyes. Her heart was at ease, and not long after, she fell into a deep sleep. Lin Yi had just leveled up and he was full of energy. He wasn't sleepy at all. Holding Tang Yun's hand, Lin Yi closed his eyes and enjoyed this moment of warmth. Lin Yi wasn't a conservative person, but he wasn't a playboy either. Suddenly having two girlfriends caught Lin Yi off guard, but now that they were together, it was a different kind of warmth. Especially when the two girlfriends didn't fight for each other and got along well with each other. This made Lin Yi feel very happy. In the blink of an eye, it was morning. Xiao Xiao's biological clock was very accurate, and she woke up at 6:30. She didn't see Lin Yi and she was shocked. Was she dreaming last night? Lin Yi didn't come? Chapter 12:23. Chapter 12:21, House Kang's new test, but the disappointment only lasted for a split second, and Xiao Xiao felt that she was being too stingy. Tang Yun was Lin Yi's wife, and she was the second. Lin Yi was with her first and then Tang Yun. He was already treating her very well. What was there to be disappointed about? Lin Yi, honey, you're not being nice, you came out to see Tang Yun sis in the middle of the night. Xiao Xiao giggled. I got here at 4 in the morning. Lin Yi said, blushing. Tang Yun woke up as well, she was a little embarrassed. Xiao Xiao, I didn't ask him to come, he did it himself. Alright, Yun sis, I didn't say anything. Isn't this good? From now on, we'll spend half the night together, no one loses out. Xiao Xiao smiled. Yeah. Xiao Xiao's words made Tang Yun sigh. Future. Was there really a future? Did Lin Yi have a way to cure Xiao Xiao? After breakfast, the three of them drove to the school. As usual, they parked the car at the food street behind the school. Then the three of them walked to the classroom. The 12th year was a busy one, and when Lin Yi got to school, the Miss and Shu were already there reading in their seats. Mengyao nodded when she saw Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao enter the classroom. There were a lot of people in the classroom and it wasn't convenient to talk too much. She'd asked them during lunch break. Kang Xiaobo, on the other hand, was very excited today. He turned his head when he saw Lin Yi. Boss, sis-in-law, good morning. Sure. Xiao Xiao smiled and accepted the salute. Tang Yun would have blushed a lot, so Xiaobo called Tang Yun by her name most of the time when there were outsiders around. Why are you so excited today? Lin Yi frowned. Isn't Fin healed? I'm so happy. Xiaobo chuckled. After that, I brought her to meet my parents yesterday and they were really satisfied. Isn't that great? Now it's settled. Lin Yi nodded. That's right, I have to thank you, boss. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. Kang Xiaobo said gratefully. Do you have anything to do with it or not? Lin Yi glared at him. If you have nothing to do, then hurry up and read. Lin Yi wanted to talk to Xiao Xiao about Su Shirhan, but Kang Xiaobo just kept talking. There is something, of course there is something. Kang Xiaobo lowered his voice and said, Boss, guess who called me yesterday? Who? Lin Yi frowned and asked. He didn't expect Kang Xiaobo to play this kind of riddle. Kang Ming. Kang Xiaobo said. Why did he call you? Lin Yi was a little surprised. House Kang finally couldn't sit still anymore? They wanted to buy information from Kang Xiaobo again? He wanted to ask me for some insider information. Xiaobo said, Kang Xiaoming asked me a lot of questions, but the main point was basically Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's import channels. He also asked me if we changed the formula for the injury medicine. Xiaobo said, Kang Xiaoming asked me a lot of questions. What did you say? Lin Yi didn't expect that Kang Ming wasn't that stupid. He could think of the problem. But it was no wonder. House Kang's golden creation had a lot of expensive ingredients. Not only were the prices high, but there wasn't a lot of production either. The supply couldn't meet the demand. This was the main reason why House Kang's golden creation was always out of stock. It wasn't that House Kang wanted to starve the market, but House Kang really didn't have enough ingredients to make so many medicines. Of course I didn't say anything. I said I'm only the vice president, and my main responsibility is the sales channel. Fatty Lai is in charge of the production and Professor Guan is in charge of the research, so I don't know anything, Kang Xiaobo said with a smile. Okay, but if he wants to ask for more information and give you money, you don't have to reject him, Lin Yi said with a smile. Of course there's a fat sheep giving me money, it's a waste not to take it. Kang Xiaobo nodded and said, oh right, I said I'm in charge of sales, but Kang Mingming asked me about the factory price of our injury medicine. From what he said, it seems like he wants to buy in bulk. Buy in bulk? Lin Yi was stunned. Yeah, I think they want to buy our products and change the packaging before selling them, Kang Xiaobo said. That's possible, but let's see. If they want to buy it, then let them buy it. It's impossible to give them the factory price, let them find a place to sell it, Lin Yi said nonchalantly. If House Kang really did that, then when House Kang's golden creation entered the market, it would be a great opportunity for him to attack them. They were digging their own graves. As long as this news was publicized at the right time, House Kang's medical group would be completely ruined. Lin Yi didn't believe that Dr. Kang would be so stupid as to do something like this. Okay, if Kang Mingming has any news, I'll let you know immediately. Kang Mingming nodded. Kang Mingming turned his head, and the physics teacher walked in, preparing to start the lesson. Lin Yi naturally had to give up on talking about superstars with Xiao Xiao and focus on the lesson. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, seemed to be enjoying this time with Lin Yi. Deskmate lover, this was a wonderful feeling. It was the best experience of her life, and she didn't want to miss out on the last moments of her life. At noon, Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu went to the second floor of the school cafeteria. There were a lot of people and it wasn't good to eat in the public cafeteria. Some things weren't good to say and they'd be a joke to others. The manager of the cafeteria, of course, knew Meng Yao, and so when Meng Yao requested it, he cleared out a room on the second floor and turned it into Meng Yao's private room. Meng Yao didn't like the privilege of a miss, but for Xiao Xiao she had to use it. Otherwise, Lin Yi would have a big wife on his left, a small wife on his right, and she and Shu on top of that. What would people think if they saw that? Xiao Xiao, are you okay? Shu and I were shocked when we heard that you fainted yesterday. Meng Yao didn't know that Xiao Xiao was dying on the surface, because Lin Yi and Tang Yun didn't have the chance to tell them yet. Chapter 12:24. Chapter 12:22. Yushu's framing. Lin Yi and Tang Yun looked at each other. Since Xiao Xiao said that, it meant that she didn't want Meng Yao and Yushu to know about it for now. The two didn't bring it up again. Meng Yao and Yushu on the other hand knew about it, so they played along. I see, that's good. Meng Yao nodded. Then let's eat more food today? Yeah. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something else? Xiao Xiao didn't want to bring the topic back to her illness. During class, Lin Yi had already secretly texted Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu about Xiao Xiao's wish, so Meng Yao naturally brought the topic to Su Shirhan. I heard that Su Shirhan released a new single? Meng Yao pretended to be nonchalant. Oh, I think so. The entertainment channel introduced it yesterday, Yushu said after some thought. Really? I didn't hear about it. I was busy all day yesterday, I didn't have time to watch TV. Tang Yun turned to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao, right, do you like Su Shirhan? I do. Xiao Xiao's eyes lit up at the mention of Su Shirhan. I'm a fan of hers, I have all her albums. Is that so? Me and Shu too. Meng Yao said happily. So did you join Su Shirhan's fan club? Nope, the fan club events are all in the main cities. We haven't held any here and we'd have to pay the membership fee for nothing. Xiao Xiao shook her head. That's true, it's a shame that Su Shirhan never held any events or concerts in Songshan. Tang Yun nodded. Yeah, I've always wanted to see her concerts but I never got the chance, Xiao Xiao said, disappointed. Maybe if Su Shirhan holds another concert we can go to another city? It's convenient now anyway and we'll be there in a bit if we take a plane, Meng Yao suggested. Yeah, let's treat it as a vacation, let Shield Bro accompany us. Yushu added. That. Xiao Xiao was a little moved. To be honest, she really did want to go but she was a little worried. I'm fine, I don't expect to study well but you guys do, right? The college entrance examination is not far away. If you go out at this time, you will fall behind in your homework. Xiao Xiao's worry wasn't unreasonable. She didn't know how long she had left, so she didn't care if she could get into college or not. But Tang Yun, Meng Yao and Yushu were different. He could tell that they were hardworking and wanted to get into a good university. Wouldn't he be harming them if he dragged them to a concert? Oh, that little bit of homework is nothing to Genius Shu, and you need to strike a balance between work and rest. Yushu said indifferently, right Yao Yao sis? Yeah. Meng Yao smiled bitterly. If she didn't do well in the exams, then she'd have to ask her father for help. With House Chu's current wealth, it wasn't a difficult thing to do, but it was a completely different feeling compared to the one she'd gotten herself. But Meng Yao didn't regret it. Life was the most precious thing and she didn't know when Xiao Xiao would leave. She couldn't let her leave with regrets. That was why Meng Yao suggested this. I don't care, I can't get into college anyway. I'll just let Lin Yi spend the money, he's the big boss now, Tang Yun joked, easing the atmosphere. Yeah, if we can't get in we'll have to rely on Shield Bro. Xiao Xiao, you'll have to rely on him too. Yushu said. Yeah, it's decided then. Xiao Xiao nodded. Everyone said that, and if she kept acting like that, she wouldn't appreciate it. At that moment Xiao Xiao sensed something. Meng Yao and Yushu's attitude was weird today, as if they were purposely going along with her. Could it be that they knew the truth? It was possible. Maybe Lin Yi or Tang Yun had told them already, but they didn't point it out. At that thought Xiao Xiao felt very touched. She was really lucky to have a few good friends like this before she died. Soon the food was served. At this time the chef in the cafeteria was free. The big pot of food was already ready, and the food the miss ordered was delivered quickly. Yao Yao sis, those kids from the orphanage are so pitiful. We get to eat such delicious food every day but they have to calculate what they eat every day. Yushu sighed as she looked at the food on the table. Yeah, Shu, didn't you say you were going to have a donation event? What's your decision? Meng Yao was very concerned about the kids in the orphanage. What's going on? What kids from the orphanage? Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao paused. They didn't go to the orphanage with Lin Yi yesterday, so naturally they didn't know what was going on. It's like this. These things couldn't be explained in a few words, so he might as well start from when Gooden borrowed money from Yu Xiaoka and tell her the whole story. There were no outsiders here, so Lin Yi didn't hide anything. He even told them how he met Yu Xiaoka. So that's what happened. Meng Yao and Yushu didn't know much about Yu Xiaoka, but after hearing Lin Yi's story, they were just as shocked as Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. It really isn't easy for Yu Xiaoka running around for the orphanage. She's a thief, but she's much better than those hypocrites. Meng Yao sighed. Yeah, that fox song Lingshan really is despicable. She even hurt Yu Xiaoka. If Yu Xiaoka didn't meet Shield Bro and something happened to her, what would happen to the kids in the orphanage? Yushu said angrily. You can't say that. It's the law of the world for the police to catch a thief. Officer Song has her duty, but Yu Xiaoka is a good thief. Tang Yun said fairly. Yun Yun sis, why are you so dumb? You're even putting in a good word for that fox Lingshan, she's your love rival. Yushu said, panicking. Ah? Love rival? Tang Yun paused. When did Lingshan become her love rival? Chapter 1225. Can't just do it, huh? Tang Yun's eyes went wide, her face flushing red. This Yushu was way too fierce, daring to say anything she wanted. Shu, what are you talking about? Don't talk nonsense, Lingshan wouldn't do something like that, would she? Meng Yao had been misunderstood by Yushu once before, back in the cave when she was sucking Lin Yi's blood, and Yushu said that it was something like that. Thinking about it, Lingshan might have been a misunderstanding as well. Plus, with her understanding of Lin Yi's personality, even if Lingshan wanted to do it, Lin Yi might not agree to it. The two weren't familiar with each other and Lin Yi wasn't lustful at all. How could he take the bait so easily? If it was Tang Yun helping Lin Yi like that, Meng Yao would believe it, but if it was Lingshan she wouldn't believe it at all. There's no one else here, what's there to be afraid of? Yushu said nonchalantly. Are you serious? That Lingshan is that cruel? Xiao Xiao asked. Of course it's fake. Lin Yi patted Xiao Xiao's head helplessly. How can we believe Shu's words? Why can't we? I'm the famous prophecy Shu, everything I say basically comes true. Yushu said confidently. Shu, you can't just make random prophecies. Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Nothing was going on between Lin Yi and Lingshan yet, but if Yushu made a prophecy things would really get out of hand. Ugh. Yushu stuck out her tongue, realizing that her words weren't appropriate. Wasn't she pushing Lin Yi to Lingshan's side? Alright, let's talk about the orphanage's donation. Lin Yi pulled the topic back. Yushu was getting further and further away from the topic, and Lin Yi naturally couldn't let her continue. If it were in the past it wouldn't be a big deal. But now there really was something between Lin Yi and Lingshan. Lin Yi couldn't help but blush as he listened to Yushu's words. It was better to stop her from talking. Lin Yi is right. Let's study the fundraising event first. Meng Yao nodded. I didn't talk to Dad yesterday because of Xiao Xiao. I'll call him now and tell him about it. Well, it's better to tell Uncle Chu first. Lin Yi nodded and said, let Uncle Chu arrange it in the school. Talk to Principal Ding and have them organize it together. It will be more powerful than if we do it ourselves. Meng Yao took out her phone and dialed Peng Zhan's number. Yao Yao, why are you calling me at this hour? Peng Zhan was looking at some documents in his office. He was surprised to see his daughter calling him at this hour. Meng Yao had always been an independent girl. She wouldn't call Peng Zhan if there wasn't anything important. She had been in Songshan's first school for the past few years, and it was obvious that she needed his help. She was very different from the other misses. Daddy, there's something I need to trouble you with? Meng Yao said. Oh, my precious daughter is in some trouble? What do you need help with? Peng Zhan was a little surprised by Meng Yao's words. Back then, other than chasing Lin Yi away, Meng Yao had never asked him for anything else. It's like this. Chu and I want to organize a donation event in school. We want all the students to donate to the orphanage. Meng Yao said. Donation event? Donate to the orphanage? Peng Zhan paused. He didn't understand what his daughter meant. What orphanage? Daddy, it's like this. Meng Yao told Peng Zhan about what she saw at the orphanage yesterday. So that's how it is. Peng Zhan sighed after hearing his daughter's words. If that's the case, the orphanage's children are so pitiful. This donation event is very necessary. But Yao Yao, have you ever thought that although there are a lot of rich students in school, most of them are just using their parents' pocket money? Even if they were to donate, they wouldn't be able to donate too much. I'm guessing that the total amount of donations in a school is only around 100 to 200,000. It's like trying to put out a cart of firewood with a cup of water. But even if it's like trying to put out a cart of firewood with a cup of water, it's still a good thing for the orphanage. Meng Yao naturally understood this logic. It's better than me donating alone, right? How about this? I'll let Principal Ding send out invitations in the name of the school to some of the famous people in Songshan. If they're willing to donate, it'll bring a considerable amount of income to the orphanage. After all, the donations from these people and the students aren't on the same level. Peng Zhan sighed. Meng Yao's eyes lit up. As a businessman, her father's vision was broad. Meng Yao was pleasantly surprised. That's great. There'll be more people donating now. I'll discuss this with old Ding. Peng Zhan said. Right, Yao Yao, how's Lin Yi? Meng Yao paused. She looked at Lin Yi. He's fine. What's wrong? That's good. Let him answer the phone, I have something to talk to him about. Peng Zhan said. Peng Zhan's attitude towards the Xiao family brothers was very firm yesterday, but he was still a little weak inside. After all, the Xiao family had 2 masters from the hidden house pie. This worried Peng Zhan a little. After the Xiao family brothers left yesterday, there was no movement. Today, Peng Zhan took a look at the company's stocks. There wasn't much movement. He didn't know what the Xiao family was going to do to him. Peng Zhan was very concerned about Lin Yi's safety. As long as Lin Yi wasn't injured and hospitalized, House Chu would be safe for now. Uncle Chu, what's up? Lin Yi took the phone and asked. How are you? I heard that you were very busy yesterday, so I didn't tell you in detail. I heard from the Xiao family brothers that some hero went to Yao Yao's villa and beat you to the hospital? Peng Zhan asked. Hero? Beat me to the hospital? Lin Yi paused. The Xiao family went to look for you again yesterday? Yeah, that's what happened yesterday. Peng Zhan didn't seem to be faking the shock in Lin Yi's voice. He was a little confused. Could it be that the Xiao family brothers came here to talk nonsense? There was no hero at all and Lin Yi wasn't injured? Chapter 1226. Chapter 1224. Xie Yufeng's visit. Oh? Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben can't sit still anymore? Lin Yi was surprised. But there really isn't a hero? Wait, the hero they're talking about isn't Guden, is it? Guden? Who is he? Peng Zhan asked. It's a brother from my hometown, he's here to give me the medicine. What happened yesterday was actually like this. Lin Yi told Peng Zhan about how Guden went to get revenge on the lion and sent the 2 masters from Xiao family to the hospital. No wonder. They brought this powerful Guden to your place, thinking that he didn't know you and would hurt you, so they couldn't wait to cause trouble for me. Peng Zhan realized, but they still have the mood to cause trouble when their own masters are injured? They really did it. Haha, they're probably afraid that the news of the pie masters being injured would spread, and they wouldn't be able to threaten you anymore, Lin Yi analyzed with a smile. That's why they're in such a rush. If that's the case, then I won't worry anymore. But that brother of yours is really strong. I heard that the two masters from House Pai are really strong, and they were sent to the hospital by him. If Xiao family knew that Gooden Master was your brother, they'd probably be scared out of their wits. Peng Zhan laughed, his worries gone. With Lin Yi and Heir Gooden there, what was there to be afraid of from Xiao family? As arrogant as Xiao family was, he'd have Heir Gooden send them to the hospital after the Pai masters were discharged. Don't worry about them. If they come looking for trouble again, I'll have Heir Gooden scare them a little and get some money from them. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Lin Yi smiled. That's true. Then I'll go call old Ding and discuss the fundraising. Yao Yao and Shu, you'll have to pay more attention to them, Peng Zhan said. After ending the call with Lin Yi, Peng Zhan called the headmaster of Songshan's first school, Binggong, and told him about the donation event. It just so happened that the first high school was going to hold a singing competition and invited celebrities to donate. They couldn't just ask for money without any ceremony, right? Therefore, Ding Binggong's idea was to combine the singing competition and the fundraising event. The school would select some of the better performances and hold a fundraising event at the same time as the finals. The celebrities who came to the charity would also participate in the singing and dancing competition selection. This would liven up the atmosphere and also show respect to the donors. Peng Zhan was quite satisfied with Binggong's suggestion. Binggong was a capable man, and he'd been managing Songshan's first school well for the past few years. This was also the reason why Peng Zhan had given him such a heavy responsibility. This was a private school and a key school at that. The headmaster here had a lot of power, and if his abilities weren't up to par, then the school's reputation would be overtaken by other schools. But it wasn't enough to just have ability without self-control. If there was corruption, then the school's culture would plummet. If the headmaster took the initiative to accept gifts, then wouldn't the other teachers follow suit? The school's reputation would be ruined in a few years. But Binggong wasn't just a righteous man, he was also very capable. This was also the reason why Peng Zhan trusted him. After the matter was settled, Binggong gathered the vice headmaster and Dean Wang Jifeng to the meeting room to discuss the specifics of the donation event. Lingshan walked out of Director Chen's office with a serious expression on her face, her eyebrows furrowed. There weren't so many things happening when Yang Huaijuan was the captain, but she'd just taken over the position not long ago, and all the cases in Songshan came one after another. The missing persons cases were getting more and more intense, but there was no pattern to the people who went missing. They were from all walks of life. Butchers, drivers, grocery sellers, trash collectors, hotel attendants, mall security guards, street sweepers, and so on. Lingshan looked at the pile of files in front of her, feeling like she didn't know where to start. These people were all missing, and without exception they'd gotten into a small conflict with someone, and then ran away after injuring the person. The injured people, on the other hand, weren't seriously injured, and weren't at the level of being wanted for crimes. These types of cases were the easiest to overlook, and so the files they received were very simple. No one took it seriously, and only Lingshan noticed that something wasn't right, and reported it to Director Chen. Today, Director Chen was looking for Lingshan to discuss the possibility of combining the cases, and told her to solve them as soon as possible. Even if these cases were coincidental, she had to find the people who ran away. A lot of people ran away from their families and they reported them to the police as well. It didn't have a huge impact on society, but it did cause panic in some people. In order to prevent the case from getting serious, Director Chen wanted Lingshan to solve it as soon as possible. Lingshan felt a headache coming on. Looking at the pile of files in front of her, she felt like she was looking for trouble. If she didn't report these thoughts back then, she wouldn't be in trouble today. But Lingshan didn't regret it. She was a righteous person, and she couldn't just ignore these strange cases of people going missing. She couldn't do that. Dang dang dang. Someone knocked on the office door. Come in. Lingshan didn't think much about it. After all, there were a lot of people looking for her during office hours. Lingshan, are you busy? It was Xie Yufeng, one of the people Lingshan didn't want to see the most. Lingshan raised an eyebrow when she heard the voice. What are you doing here? Isn't it already noon? I wanted to invite you for lunch, but I know you're busy, and you weren't in your room when I came. Your colleague said you went to the director to discuss work, so I went out to buy lunch. With that, he waved the bag in his hand and smiled. You haven't eaten yet, right? Let's eat together? Lingshan frowned. Without a doubt, Xie Yufeng was being very considerate. If it were Lin Yi, Lingshan would be overjoyed. But this was Xie Yufeng, and that was a different story. I'm not hungry. You eat, I still have work to do. Lingshan looked at Yufeng faintly before lowering her head and looking at the file in front of her. Chapter 1227. Chapter 1225. Song Lingruan had to admit that Yufeng was quite good at picking up girls. One sentence closed the distance between him and Lingshan. They were both practitioners and they had a common topic. Previously, when he was repeatedly rejected in school, it was only because the girls that he had taken a fancy to and wanted to pursue already had someone in their heart. That was why they were so cold to him. But what Yufeng didn't know was that Lingshan had someone else in her heart as well. Then leave it there, I'll eat it later. Lingshan couldn't just tell Yufeng to leave. After all, House Yu's face was there, and she knew the situation House Song was in right now. She didn't want to offend House Yu if she could. Eat it now, it'll get cold soon. It won't taste good. Yufeng said as he took out a box and put it on Lingshan's table, smiling. Grandpa Song told me to take care of you. If you don't eat it, I won't be able to explain it to him. I can only call Grandpa Song and ask for forgiveness now. Lingshan was pissed when she saw that Yufeng was really going to take out his phone. This guy was using a chicken feather as a token of authority. But Lingshan, naturally, wouldn't let him bother her grandpa with something like this. She could only take it helplessly. All right, let's eat first. That's right. Yufeng smiled and put his phone away. He took out another box and sat in front of Lingshan's desk eating. Looking at Yufeng eating in front of her, Lingshan felt that the atmosphere was a little weird, making her very uncomfortable. She could only eat as she read the files, not giving Yufeng a chance to talk to her. You don't have to work when you eat, right? There has to be time for rest, right? Yufeng said. There's a case, time is tight. Lingshan said faintly. What case? Tell me, I'll help you analyze it. 2 people is better than 1, right? There's a saying that 2 heads are better than zhuge liang. Yufeng said. Sorry, it's a secret. Lingshan naturally wouldn't give Yufeng the chance to talk to her. Lingshan's reply made Yufeng quite troubled, but there was nothing he could do about it. She said it was a secret after all, so he couldn't just keep asking. After finishing her lunchbox, Lingshan pushed it to the side and continued reading the case files. Yufeng, on the other hand, sat in front of her for a while. He didn't have anything else to do, so he got up and packed his lunchbox. All right, Lingshan, go do your stuff first. I'll come see you tomorrow. I won't be at the station tomorrow. I'm going to East Ocean City. Lingshan had wanted to go to Donghai tomorrow morning, but after hearing what Yufeng said, she changed her mind. She'd leave at noon to avoid him. Lingshan was going to Donghai to see Huaijuan, to show him the case file and ask for his opinion and analysis. Huaijuan wasn't just Lingshan's master, he was also her big brother, the vice director in charge of criminal investigation. So it made sense that Lingshan wanted to talk to him about work. It might seem a little useless, but Lingshan didn't mind. She was brought up by Yang Bro and she was his follower. What was so embarrassing about asking him for help? Huaijuan had been in Donghai for a while now working on a case. Lingshan had to go to Donghai if she wanted to see him. I see, how are you going? Do you want me to drive you? I bought a car here, a limited edition Lamborghini. Yufeng said. I have a car and I'm going to work. What's with you driving me? Lingshan was speechless. Was this guy sick in the head? Driving her out in a Lamborghini? Wouldn't people think that she was corrupt? Yufeng saw that Lingshan was adamant on rejecting him, so he could only leave. After sending him off, Lingshan shook her head. This guy was really annoying, even bringing up her grandpa's name. What would she do if he came to her office every day? Lingshan's phone rang and she pulled it out. It was an unknown number. Lingshan subconsciously thought that it was Yufeng. She didn't want to pick it up, but what if it wasn't him? There were a lot of unknown numbers that called her every day and some of them were related to cases. Lingshan still picked it up. Hello, I'm Lingshan. Lingshan said after picking up the phone. Sis. A pleasant female voice came from the other side. Rui. Lingshan paused. Why are you here? Aren't you in training? You can't just call? It was Lingshan's sister, Ling Rui. She'd been in training a few years ago, and she could only call her family during Chinese New Year. Otherwise there was no contact at all. So when Ling Rui called, Lingshan was both surprised and happy. Hihi sis, I'm almost free. This year is the 4th year of special training, and he received the Medal of Warrior from the training camp with excellent results. Song Ling Rui said happily. Lingshan counted with her fingers. In a flash, Ling Rui had finished her training already. Time really did fly. Thinking back to that time, the little girl who'd cried her eyes out for her had actually gotten a warrior's medal. It made Lingshan very emotional. 4 years ago, in order to prevent House Song from falling and for Ling Rui to become stronger, her grandpa decided to send his sister to the harshest mercenary training camp. Thinking back to that weak, crying sister of hers actually got the highest honor in the training camp. Congratulations, Xiao Rui. Lingshan said sincerely. Then what's your decision? Are you going to stay in the training camp or come back? Let's not talk about me first. I just called Grandpa. Sis, I heard that you have a boyfriend? Ling Rui asked, curious. Boyfriend? Lingshan's face darkened. You heard about House Yu Feng, right? I don't like him. Lingshan didn't have anything to hide from her own sister. She liked him. She didn't. Chapter 12:28. Brother-in-law, I don't like him anyway, I hate him whenever I see him. Plus he's not the only mystic mid-phase peak. Lingshan humphed. Do you have someone else in mind, sis? And this person is very strong, a master too? Song Lingrui and Lingshan had been close since they were young. Their minds were connected, so Song Lingrui was suspicious the moment Lingshan opened her mouth. Yeah. Lingshan didn't deny it. She couldn't tell her grandpa about this, but she could tell her sister. Rui's mouth was tight too. He as expected. Song Lingrui said excitedly, quickly tell me about brother-in-law. How powerful is he? Is he as strong as that Xie Yufeng? Much stronger than him. Lingshan's heart was filled with sweetness at the thought of Lin Yi. What's Yufeng? He might have some strength, but who knows how many elixirs he used to accumulate it? He's just a young master, dumb and not responsible at all. But when did the young generation of experts become so many? I'm not in the country, but it seems like only house you can break through to mystic from noble houses, right? At this point, Song Lingrui's tone suddenly became sluggish. Wow, sis, is brother-in-law from a hidden family? I don't think so, he's not from a noble house. Lingshan thought about Lin Yi's situation and denied Lingrui's guess. Lin Yi wasn't from a noble house, and he shouldn't be from a hidden house either. Lingshan had never heard of a hidden house coming out to be a common world girl's bodyguard. Trained by himself? A mystic? Lingrui's eyes widened. His background is a bit mysterious, probably similar to yours from some training camp. Lingshan frowned. She'd known Lin Yi for so long, but she didn't even know Lin Yi's background. Wow, this brother-in-law of mine is so mysterious, I'll have to meet him. Just how strong is he? Lingrui was getting more and more curious. I'm not too sure myself, but it's all thanks to him that I was able to reach Golden Class late phase peak. Lingshan really didn't know how strong Lin Yi was. She heard that he beat up Ma Zhu, a mystic mid-phase peak physical practitioner, half to death, so he shouldn't be weak. Ah? Brother-in-law helped you improve your strength? Wah. Sister, you've already cultivated together? Song Lingrui was very gossipy and exclaimed, you've actually already done it. Sister, quickly tell me, did it feel good doing that thing with brother-in-law? How does it feel? Ahem? Lingshan almost threw the phone away. She blushed and coughed twice. Xiao Rui, what are you talking about? How could a child's thoughts be so complicated? What do you mean by done or not done? There's nothing going on between me and him. There's nothing between us. Lingshan said that, but she was grumbling inwardly. She was offering herself up for free, and Lin Yi didn't even want to do it. Just thinking about it made Lingshan feel suffocated. Was she that bad? Sis, I'm already 18, okay? I'm already an adult. Song Lingrui wasn't happy that her sister always treated her like a child. Then how did you improve your strength without cultivating together? Speaking of which, you might not believe it, but he used the method of transferring qi into my body and I broke through. Lingshan felt that it was unbelievable every time she thought about it. Lin Yi was too strong, wasn't he? He could improve like that? Ah. Song Lingrui was stunned. He used his own qi to improve your strength? Wah, sis, brother-in-law loves you so much. I'm so jealous, so romantic. It's all right. Lingshan thought, according to what you said, he also loves dogs. But she couldn't say that even if she was her own sister, she was too embarrassed to say it. Hearing Lingshan's casual words, Song Lingrui thought that Lingshan did it on purpose. She was envious. I'll definitely find a boyfriend like brother-in-law in the future to help me improve my strength. You're just a kid, what's there to look for? Lingshan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Right, Rui, let's not talk about this for now. When are you coming back? I'll have to wait a little longer. I can graduate after I get the medal. Song Lingrui said, when that time comes, I'll have to discuss with Grandpa whether I'll go to work or come back to university. It'll all depend on Grandpa's arrangements. Lingshan nodded. Song Lingrui was only 18, the right age to go to university. It was indeed a little early for her to start working after coming back. She should learn more in school and broaden her horizons so that she could help Grandpa handle the Song family's affairs in the future, and wait for her brother to grow up and officially take over the Song family. That's right, if you want to go to school, come to Songshan. We sisters can see each other often, Lingshan said. Of course I still want to see brother-in-law. I can help you check him out. If he can't pass me, I won't recognize him as my brother-in-law. Song Lingrui said with a smile. Take care of yourself first. Kids shouldn't get involved in adult matters. Lingshan's heart was beating like a drum. Lin Yi wasn't her boyfriend at all, and if Rui said something inappropriate she'd lose face. So, it was best not to let her get involved in this. Let's talk later. I have something to do here. I'll hang up first, sis. Someone was calling Song Lingrui, and so she hurriedly said and was about to hang up. I'll call you when I'm free. I'm always free now. Looking at the phone, Lingshan shook her head, her gloomy mood lightening up a lot. She shook her head and went back to her work. Xie Yufeng's face was a little dark after leaving the police station. Even an idiot could tell that Lingshan didn't like him. Xie Yufeng, who had everything he wanted in the house, had never been treated so coldly before. Even in other houses, the head of those noble houses would look up to him when he showed off his identity as the heir of House Yu. This Lingshan was acting all high and mighty. What was so great about it? Wasn't she just a golden class late phase peak who looked a little prettier? He was still a mystic mid-phase peak. How dare she give him that attitude? See how I'll deal with her when I get married. Xie Yufeng spat on the side of the road. Chapter 1229. Chapter 1227, Kidnapping Xiao Xiao, Motherfucker. Yufeng was about to punch him when he realized that he was standing in front of the police station. As a noble house disciple, he wasn't afraid of anything, but he was afraid that Lingshan would see his actions, and her impression of him would be even worse. It'd be even harder for him to get her. So Yufeng swallowed his anger and took out 100 kuai from his pocket and gave it to the old man. It's 200 now. The old man kept his head down and continued to write. How come it's 200? Yufeng couldn't hold it in anymore, but his heart was about to explode. How dare they raise the price? You were cursing people just now, using uncivilized language in public. Fine 100. The old man said. Here. Yufeng was so pissed that he could see stars. He took out another 100 and gave it to the old man before walking to the parking lot not far away. How are you, Han? Does your head still hurt? If you don't feel well, I'll help you cancel the celebration tonight. The manager, Wang Sis, touched Shirhan's forehead and asked. It's okay, I took the painkiller, it's a little better. A smile appeared on Shirhan's pale face. Everyone in the company is waiting, how can I not go? They're celebrating for me. So what if you don't go? Your single just came out and it instantly took the top of all the ringtone downloads, earning a lot of money for the company. Even if you don't go, what can they say? Sister Wang said disapprovingly. Moreover, your headache is not a secret in the company. The boss also knows about it. I'll go, I'll get ready now, Shirhan said and got up from the bed, preparing to wash her face and change her clothes. Man Han, you're a superstar now, you need to put on airs sometimes, you don't need to work so hard. Wang Sis said helplessly. It's okay, this is what I like to do, of course I have to work hard. Shirhan smiled. By the way, Xiaohan, I saw news about a famous doctor on the internet. It is said that he is a genius doctor who can cure many difficult and complicated diseases. Many famous people's diseases have been cured by him. Everyone admires him very much. Sister Wang suddenly patted her forehead, remembering this important news. Him? Is this for real? Sometimes the news on the internet was inaccurate. Aren't there a lot of people on the internet saying that my private life is a mess? Shirhan smiled and didn't take it seriously. Xiaohan, this is different. Wang Sis said, this person is called Zhao Yaowang. I've asked around, he's really famous in Songshan City. He's really treated a lot of celebrities and all of them were cured. I heard that he's an expert from some big family. Oh? Can he really cure my illness? Su Shirhan was tempted by Wang Sis's words. Wang Sis had a lot of experience in society and she was reliable. If she didn't have any experience in judging, she would have been cheated to death already. She wouldn't be able to help Su Shirhan financially. Therefore, since Sister Wang said this, it meant that she had a certain degree of certainty about the authenticity of this matter. That was why she told me about it. No matter what, there's no harm in trying. Wang Sis said, I'll ask around these 2 days. If it's possible, we'll go. As long as there's hope, we have to try. Otherwise, with your illness, you really can't go on like this. Alright, I'll trouble you then, Wang Sis. Shirhan nodded and entrusted the matter to Wang Sis. Tonight, Xiao Xiao sat in Lin Yi's car as usual after school returning home. Lin Yi and Tang Yun didn't go up. After all, Lin Yi stayed here yesterday, and he should go back to House Chu's villa tonight. Tang Yun, on the other hand, had just moved yesterday and didn't have the chance to stay overnight. Naturally, she had to go back today. Xiao Xiao opened the door with the key and walked into the living room, but a handkerchief suddenly covered her mouth. Xiao Xiao's heart skipped a beat. She wanted to struggle and scream, but before she could, she fainted. The handkerchief had ether on it and it could make people lose consciousness quickly. There wasn't a lot of ether, so Xiao Xiao fainted quickly and woke up quickly. When Xiao Xiao woke up, she realized that she was tied up with rope, sitting on the sofa, unable to move. Beside her was a man she didn't know. "Oh, who are you?" Xiao Xiao asked subconsciously. "You're awake?" The man looked at Xiao Xiao and looked at the time on his watch. He said faintly, "Earlier than I expected." "Help." Xiao Xiao suddenly screamed for help. She didn't know this unfamiliar man, but he tied her up. It was obvious that he was up to no good. The man didn't stop Xiao Xiao, only looking at her weirdly. He said faintly, "This is your own house, don't tell me you don't know? I looked at it just now and your apartment has really good soundproofing. Moreover, your room is covered with a ceiling and wallpaper, which imperceptibly increases the soundproofing factor. So, to quote a very classic saying, you can shout to your heart's content. Even if you shout yourself hoarse, no one will hear you." Xiao Xiao wasn't an idiot, she shut her mouth after hearing the man's words. She'd only done it in a moment of desperation, and now that she understood that calling for help wouldn't work, she naturally wouldn't waste her efforts. "Why did you grab me?" Xiao Xiao asked. "Did you grab the wrong person? I don't even know you, I don't even know you. I just rented this place 2 days ago, are you looking for the previous tenant? Alright, stop pretending. Don't think I don't know your Xiao Xiao." The man waved his hand impatiently, stopping Xiao Xiao. "Keep your little smarts to yourself. I'm looking for you." Xiao Xiao was a little dejected. She'd wanted to trick this guy into letting her go. She didn't expect him to know her and even know her name. All her previous plans were useless. This guy clearly had a purpose and it wasn't a random kidnapping. Chapter 12:30. Chapter 12:28, Kidnapping? You can't make the decision even if I told you. The man said faintly. "You're just a bargaining chip. I'm looking for your old man Feng Tianlong. You're looking for my dad." Xiao Xiao's eyes darted at the man in front of her, wondering how she could escape his control. "I have nothing to say to you." The man looked at Xiao Xiao. "I don't want to waste my time with you. Keep your little thoughts to yourself, don't think I don't know what you're thinking." Xiao Xiao was a bit troubled. This guy clearly wasn't an idiot. He knew that she wanted to escape, so he didn't want to talk to her at all. With that, the man ignored Xiao Xiao and called Tianlong. "Hello, I'm Tianlong." Tianlong's voice came from the other side. "Feng Tianlong? Hello." The man laughed when he heard Tianlong's voice. "Hearing your voice makes me very happy. Who are you?" The man's tone made Tianlong pause. "Why are you looking for me?" "Of course I'm looking for you." The man looked at Xiao Xiao. "Tianlong, your precious daughter is in my hands. How is it? You must be very shocked after hearing this, right?" Tianlong's heart tightened. Xiao Xiao was in his hands? Who was this person? What was he planning? Was it really like what he said or was it just a scam? "Who are you? What's your purpose?" Tianlong was someone who did big things. He was nervous but his tone was calm. "Tianlong, don't tell me you've forgotten who your enemy is already?" The man laughed coldly. "It seems like your memory isn't that good. If you don't even tell me your purpose and identity, then there's no need for us to talk anymore." Tianlong said faintly. He knew that if this guy really kidnapped Xiao Xiao, then he must have a plan. Instead of guessing, he might as well just tell him. Feng Tianlong couldn't just make random guesses. There was a system of secrecy involved. What if the person was a spy sent by someone? So Tianlong was sure that if he stopped guessing, the other party would tell him the truth. As expected, after a slight pause, the other party sounded angry. "Feng Tianlong, if you dare to hang up the phone, your daughter is dead. Tell me your purpose. There's no need to threaten me. Besides, whether or not my daughter is really in your hands is another matter." Feng Tianlong said as he glanced at Li Yifeng. Li Yifeng immediately understood and began to quickly give orders to the technicians to locate the listener. "Haha, Feng Tianlong, my goal is simple. I want to use your daughter's life to exchange for the safety of our second head in charge." The man said his goal. He wanted to lead Feng Tianlong by the nose and get some insider information from him, but Feng Tianlong wasn't someone to be trifled with. The man's plan was ruined, so he could only say his real goal. "Second leader?" Feng Tianlong paused. At this moment, he was completely sure of the man's identity. "From Red Conscious?" "Aha, it seems that Mr. Feng isn't stupid." "That's right, I'm from Red Conscious." The man laughed. "Since you know who I am, just one sentence. Do you agree to my conditions? You want me to release your second head in charge? Feng Tianlong frowned and asked faintly. The person this man was looking for was the baldy that Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao captured at the underground racetrack. Red Conches was an international criminal organization. Since Feng Tianlong captured their second head in charge, how could he let him go? But if the other party really had Xiao Xiao as a bargaining chip, what should he choose? Should he choose justice or family? Feng Tianlong didn't think that as a secret agent, he would have to make a choice. At this moment, his heart was unsettled for the first time. Although on the surface he still looked calm and steady. Yes, it seems that Mr. Feng understands what I mean, the man said. What you choose is up to you, Mr. Feng. Your daughter should only be 18 or 19, right? She's at the age where she's as beautiful as a flower. It'd be a pity if she died like this. How do I know if Xiao Xiao is with you or not? Feng Tianlong looked at Li Yifeng, who shook his head at him. Evidently, Li Yifeng hadn't found the other party's location yet. The other party is using a number from a foreign telecom company. We need to crack a few gateways. Li Yifeng quickly wrote this on a piece of paper and put it in front of Feng Tianlong. Feng Tianlong nodded slightly, understanding Li Yifeng's meaning. Li Yifeng wanted him to continue stalling for time so that the technicians could crack it. Haha, Feng Tianlong, don't think that I don't know what you're planning. The man laughed in disdain. Don't you just want to talk to me a bit more to stall for time? So that your subordinates can find my current location, right? You can think whatever you want, I just want to confirm if my daughter is really with you or not. Feng Tianlong didn't think that his plan would be seen through, but even so, Feng Tianlong wouldn't admit it. Okay, then I'll let you hear your daughter's voice so that you can be at ease. Then we can discuss if this deal is feasible or not. The man said nonchalantly and turned to Xiao Xiao. Little girl, say something to your father. Xiao Xiao shut her mouth and didn't say anything. Xiao Xiao had been eavesdropping on the conversation between the man and her father, and when she heard that her father was trying to stall for time to locate them, all she could think of was how she could help her father stall for time. When she heard that the man wanted her to talk to her father, Xiao Xiao thought of an idea. If she didn't speak, wouldn't she be able to stall for time? Let her father locate her location? So Xiao Xiao shut her mouth and didn't say anything. Because this was the only way her father wouldn't be able to confirm whether she was in the man's hands or not. This was the only thing Xiao Xiao could do. Chapter 1231. I don't have long to live, stupid girl, I told you to talk. What are you thinking? The man raged when he saw that Xiao Xiao didn't say anything. But Xiao Xiao still didn't say anything, as if she didn't hear what the man said. Little girl, do you want to die? Do you believe that I won't rip your clothes off right now? And fuck you to death? The man got even angrier when Xiao Xiao didn't say anything. Xiao Xiao gritted her teeth and didn't say anything. Say, are you putting on an act? Tianlong had half believed the man's words, thinking that Xiao Xiao was in his hands, but now he was starting to doubt it. After all, Tianlong felt that if the man really was from Red Conches and wanted to save their second head in charge, he wouldn't lie to him and say that Xiao Xiao was in their hands. There was no point in doing that. But now Tianlong didn't believe it. If Xiao Xiao was in his hands, why didn't she move at all? This girl's pretty smart, knowing to buy time for you. The man smiled instead of getting angry. But it's fine, I'll buy time. Tianlong, believe it or not, it's up to you. But do you know why I'm still talking to you when I know you're locating me? Do you know why? Tianlong smiled coldly. He didn't like the feeling of being led around by the nose, so he didn't say anything. He didn't say that he didn't want to know, and he didn't say that he didn't want to know. If the man wanted to say it, then he'd say it. If he didn't want to say it, then there was no point in asking. Aha, I can tell you why even if you don't ask. The man smiled. Because I'm not afraid of you locating me at all. I can tell you my identity very clearly. I'm a death warrior trained by Red Conches. You know what that means, right? You don't need me to explain it to you, do you? But I think our Dragon Edge Special Agent Captain definitely knows what a death warrior is. Feng Tianlong's face changed when he heard the man's words. Of course he knew what a death soldier was. It was normal for an international criminal organization like Red Conches to have trained death soldiers. Such a terrorist organization would often carry out deadly missions and assassinations. That was when they needed death soldiers. Death warriors, as the name suggested, referred to warriors who dared to die. The training these people received throughout their lives was all for the sake of preparing for the final moment. Many of these people had already been deceived and were willing to die for the organization. They did not care about their lives at all. These kinds of people were the most difficult to deal with. Even if they were captured, they would not be able to get any useful clues out of them. No matter how you tortured them or how you promised them wealth and glory, these people did not care at all. As long as they had the chance, they would commit suicide. What are you trying to say? Tianlong's heart tightened. Today's matter wouldn't end well. Don't you understand what I'm saying? My goal is to save the second head. It doesn't matter if I die or not. Saving the second head is the only meaning of my existence. The man didn't feel that there was anything wrong with what he said. Instead, he said it as a matter of fact. I've already hidden explosives and detonators in my room. You can come and capture me or kill me. But let me tell you, the remote control for the explosives is implanted in my body. Once my heart stops beating, the remote control will be activated. I think these explosives are enough to blow up this 20-something floor building. At that time, not only will your daughter die, but all the innocent people in this building will also be killed. Waha, thinking about it, my death is worth it. So many people will die with me. Tianlong was shocked and angry after hearing the man's words. He didn't suspect that the man was lying at all. Red Conches was a criminal organization with a strong sense of terror, and this man was a death soldier. What he said was most likely true. What about me? Does it feel good? Also, let me warn you, don't try to capture me alive. If I'm caught, I'll bite the poison in my mouth and commit suicide. The bomb will still go off. The man warned. You're not afraid that I'll evacuate the people in the building first? Tianlong smiled instead of getting angry. Wouldn't you lose a lot of bargaining chips then? Sure, no problem, you can evacuate the people in the building, but I don't believe that you'll abandon your daughter. The man said nonchalantly. My goal is simple. You just need to release the second head of our organization, and I'll leave after I get news that he's safe. I won't blow up the building anymore. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Xiao Xiao looked at the man in shock. She didn't expect him to be this cruel. He was a death soldier after all. He didn't care about life and death, and he was willing to pay with his life to achieve his goal. Xiao Xiao was worried that the innocent people in the building would be dragged into this, but after hearing the conversation between her father and the man, she gritted her teeth and made up her mind. Xiao Xiao knew very well that once her father made the decision to release the second head of the Red Conches, her father's career would be ruined. He'd even be punished. Although Tianlong was the one who caught him, he couldn't just let him go like that. Xiao Xiao didn't want her father to make a mistake because of this. Her father had been a righteous man all his life, and he'd given up a lot for his career. How could she let him lose his career because of her? She didn't have many days left to live anyway. Her illness had flared up twice, and each time was more serious than the last. Linny had used up a lot of qi and blood to save her. If this went on, it'd only be a burden to him. She was going to die sooner or later, so she might as well make her death meaningful. Dad, don't mind me, don't listen to him. After you evacuate the people, just let him blow me up. I don't have long to live anyway. Xiao Xiao suddenly yelled. Tianlong's heart skipped a beat when he heard his daughter's voice, but after hearing her words he felt emotional. Tears almost came out of his eyes. His daughter was willing to make such a sacrifice for him.